Hey everybody, Paul Ihander from 99.9 The Fan for FanDuel. Super Bowl 59, one game, two teams, endless possibilities. And there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether you're predicting the first touchdown, who takes home the MVP trophy, or the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to place your bets and feel the thrill of every moment. With live betting all game long, jump into the action, adjust your bets, and ride the wave of excitement from kickoff to the final whistle. Plus, to make the Super Bowl even sweeter, new customers can score $200 when you make your first bet. Just place a $5 bet, and if you win, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Download your app or head to FanDuel.com/Paul and bet with FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 59. 21 plus and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money, because you're in charge. And right now, you're going to pay for groceries. But you decide what groceries. Just keep in mind you're running out of dishwashing soap. But you decide if you're going to buy that soap. It's just those dishes won't clean themselves, will they? Remember, with Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Parenting is hard. Technology can make it harder. The Family Media Plan developed by the American Academy of Pediatrics helps make it easier. Go to healthychildren.org/media plan today to create the media plan that's right for your family.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score!
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Mahomes in the gun, receivers in tight. He gets the knee-high shotgun snap. He's grabbed and he throws as he's being tackled. And it was caught in the end zone by Kelsey. What a grab by Kelsey. But what a play by Mahomes. 11-yard touchdown pass as he was being dragged from behind and threaded the needle. And there he found the belt buckle of Kelsey, who catches it 5 yards deep in the middle of the end zone. Touchdown, Chiefs.
Hi, everyone. It's the Adam Gold Show. Did the Chiefs win yesterday? Already? Is that an assumption?
Maybe.
Welcome to your Friday. You have my permission to begin your weekend.
Because it's a Friday.
There you go. There you go. That is Victoria. Let's get the housekeeping out of the way. You know, I am in the process of going through, we'll just call it self-reflection.
Okay.
And one of the things that I am very, very bad at, and that is a long list, is reminding people where you can find us, what your responsibilities are as regular listeners. So you can find us on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not like here, let's say you're traveling, but you go, wait, what does Adam think about this? You could just find us on YouTube. YouTube's on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube's on your laptop. Hey, depending on where you are, it might be in your hotel room. YouTube.com/Adam Gold Show /999 The Fan. Either one, you'll get to us. You can even make little comments.
I know. I watch them
right?
all day.
And do you?
Well, not all day, but
Okay.
all show. I'm here.
Right. I don't have it up on my laptop.
Yeah.
I don't. But I don't need to be distracted. I'm easily distracted.
That's fine. I've got it on one of my many screens back here.
You do. You look like you're landing planes.
I know. I
Speaking
feel
of
like
which,
it.
that was an absolute tragedy earlier this week in Washington. 14. These are not the only people, but 14 people connected with U.S. figure skating were on that plane. I know there was a woman who was about to be a professor, a law professor at Howard University. These are just things that have come kind of filtering through social media, but an absolute tragedy. So if anybody knows anybody connected with it, our hearts go out. It's just an accident, right? I mean, it was a plane and a Blackhawk helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know how it happens, but that's not really the point at this point. Like, other people can figure that out, and other people can levy blame. I'm not into that. But you can always find us on YouTube. So check us out, if you will, and appreciate that. You can also find us in podcast form. You can rate and review, and appreciate the feedback always.
Yeah.
And let us know if there's something we're not talking about that you want us to talk about.
Well, speaking of, we have a listener named Joe who's very excited, which I did bring this up, Joe, if you're listening.
Joe is very excited.
Joe is very excited about NASCAR because the Bowman Gray event is happening this weekend.
You're kidding.
In my old stomping ground. So, yes, we did talk about this, Joe, so you might have missed it, but
we did.
I'm very excited as well.
Oh, you did it in...
Yeah, the Bowman Gray, they're doing an exhibition. NASCAR's doing an exhibition at Bowman Gray in Winston-Salem.
Look at that.
I know.
Look at that. What is that?
It is a smaller, very fun racetrack.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yes, it's fun to go to. I've been there many times to see stuff.
I have been to Rockingham.
Mm-hmm.
I have been
County or Rockingham. There's two different ones. There's Rockingham County.
The one they used to run NASCAR races
Okay.
at. I don't know the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was there.
I grew up in one. I did not in the other.
Okay, I was there. The one right down Route 1, south of Pinehurst.
Right.
So I was there. I went. I didn't go to an actual race. I went to qualifying there.
Mm-hmm.
We were, for whatever reason, we were doing a show there. This has to be 25 years ago. So I was there for qualifying. I have been to North Wilkesboro.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I have been to Charlotte Motor Speedway. The only time I ever actually saw a race was the Winston, which is now just the All-Star race, whatever it's called. And that's the only actual race I have ever attended. The other two, I was at qualifying. And I don't believe we use those other two anymore at all, right? We don't. They might. I think they're talking about bringing Rockingham back.
Yes.
North Wilkesboro, I don't think we use. But it's still in business. They use it for smaller races. They don't use it for the big races. And I know that annoys a lot of people because the roots of the sport are that track,
mm-hmm.
Rockingham, North Wilkesboro, places like that. And the roots of the sport are not Vegas, Kansas City, Chicago, right? They're just not. And I get it. But as the sport grows and more money is part of it, there's expansion, just like there's expansion in college conferences.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not arguing for or against, just that is what it is. But it's also, I think I just showed you my, what was that again that you said?
It's Bowman Gray.
They make sheets too, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know. I
You
used
can
to
order
do some
sheets.
announcing.
I get
before
all
the races. I used to give out little awards.
Oh,
to
did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good.
A long time ago, but yeah.
So
good time.
tell
Joe.
Joe.
Yes, he's all about it. He said yes.
It was just
Rockingham is
discussed.
back this year. He also recommends that you go to Bristol and Martinsville. I've been to Martinsville as well. VIR up there is fun. I've seen many a drifting events at VIR. But yes, Joe is big into this motorsports stuff, I think.
Hey, I'm not telling you not to.
No, absolutely not.
I'm not telling you not to.
Absolutely not.
I am big into ice sports.
Oh, same.
So let's start.
Let's get it started. Let's get it started.
So it was, as I kind of thought last night, it actually, Teuvo Teravainen smiled during the video.
He did.
He smiled.
Uh-huh.
That is like a normal person breaking down in tears.
Mm-hmm.
Teuvo Teravainen cracked a smile.
It was great.
So it just shows how much all of it meant, the 8 years he spent here, how much it all meant to him. Because he actually showed emotion. Good for Teuvo. Hurricanes, they won.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a clinic. It wasn't one for the time capsule. There were great moments. They probably should have scored a couple more goals. Would have made it a lot more comfortable in the end. I didn't think Chicago had tons of scoring opportunities, but some of them were handed to them. Pyotr Kochetkov at twice looked like he was trying to get a primary assist. Not a good thing. He gave the puck away for actually the first scoring chance of the first period that Chicago had was a gift from Kochetkov.
It was.
An absolute gift. And he made a great save. A dynamite save. Second scoring chance Chicago scored on. And that was also sort of a gift when Shane Gostisbehere couldn't play a puck along the wall and Sean Walker was inexplicably right behind him, like they were in I formation. And so there was no coverage in the middle of the ice. And it ended up being a breakaway that made it 1-1. The other goal was a Dmitry Orlov gaffe, but again, Kochetkov before then gave the puck away again, and he was able to make a save and get some help from his friends to clear the puck out of harm's way. But Carolina was a little bit sloppy, and as we say in other sports, not quite clinical enough in front of goal. They had some opportunities to score and didn't cash them in. But, hey, look, they won a game 3-2. They had some really good performances.
Yeah.
Jacob Slavin put on a Jacob Slavin, for my money, a Jacob Slavin masterclass. I don't really get whoever does the Stars in the Building. I don't know. And I think they do them for a reason. It's basically, who do we want to be interviewed by Hannah Yates?
Right.
So, and I think it was orchestrated to have Mikko Rantanen interviewed by Hannah Yates. He was wonderful last night.
Yep. And I got my fake units in there for anytime goal score.
There you go. Very, very good. That was it's a fortunate goal.
I know.
Because it probably should have been stopped by Soderblom. But it went off of him, and then all of a sudden, hey, look at that. It's leaking into the goal.
Yeah.
Cool. They had others. I mean, Jack Roslovic should have scored on a 2-on-1 where he had the goalie beat, and he just shot it wide. Jackson Blake had a couple of opportunities that he probably needs to finish. But, look, Carolina was dealing with a lot of stuff last night. They had Sebastian Aho and Taylor Hall out of the lineup. Ryan Suzuki was called up earlier in the day. Yeah. He left Chicago at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Right? His flight was delayed,
wow.
too. He didn't land in Raleigh until 5:30. And I don't think he got to the arena until, 6 o'clock or something.
Wow.
And they threw him, it was like a fireman. They threw him into a uniform and sent him out on the ice.
Yeah.
Of course, he took his rookie, because it was his debut. He took his, usually you do one lap. He was out there for 60 seconds before anybody else showed up. I'm like, where's everybody? Did they lock the door behind?
Well, that makes
Ryan
his
Suzuki?
Performance even more impressive, because I thought he did very well last night.
He did. He didn't play a lot.
No.
So Carolina played a skater down for salary cap reasons, and Suzuki only played 6 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So it was they were really playing two skaters down, but they got the job done. I thought Chicago's got, I think, a few really nice players.
They do.
They need to add some things around Connor Bedard, and I think Bedard is good. I don't think Bedard is one of those, but I think he is really good. And Teuvo Teravainen didn't score, so that was good. So Rod Brindamore talked about the roster situation that they had going into the game.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't pretty, but we had some good segments in there. We were able to get ahead, and then we just kind of, I don't want to say stop playing, but we kind of hung around. But yeah, it's considering what we're missing, and then we have a couple guys that were not feeling 100%, that's for sure. So we got it out, and we'll move on.
Yeah, my guess is Sean Walker was not 100%, and Shane Gostisbehere might also not have been 100%. Walker, in a game where, especially the way he has been playing, Rod Brindamore has typically been balancing out the time for his blue line. Walker played under 13 minutes. My guess is he's one of those players not feeling well. But again, maybe it was just because Jacob Slavin was so slaving that he played over 25 minutes. He was just so good last night. So I was like, I understand you wanted Mikko Rantanen to talk to the crowd. No offense to Jacob Slavin. But there wasn't anybody better in the game. Nobody better in the game than Jacob Slavin. Here's Mikko Rantanen, who got his first, and you always remember your first, as a Hurricane.
Couple looks in the first two games. Guys been making good plays around me, and again tonight, Russell made a heck of a play on the entry, the drop pass, and this time went in, so I was glad to help the team that way.
Yeah, look, I had a number of comments. This will take a weight off of Rantanen's shoulders. I don't think there was any weight. Now, if we had been sitting here 7 games in and he still didn't have a goal, maybe. But he had played well in the first 2 games, and he just hadn't scored a goal. So, yeah, he got this one. I don't think this unlocks Mikko Rantanen. He's making plenty of great plays. But it was also his first game in front of what was, in the past for him, a hostile crowd.
Well, it was great. The playing here as a away team, it's always one of the toughest buildings. So I was always happy that we only came here once. Not because I like the city and everything, but just the building is tough to play in. So I'm happy to be on the home side. And the crowd was great again. It got some chills. Obviously, there was a lot of roaring. So happy to see that.
Chills. All right. So credit to Mikko Rantanen for playing the hits, right? I mean, seriously, he gets it.
Yeah.
Right? You want the home crowd on your side. By the way, they already know his nickname is Moose.
They do.
So every time he did something good, there we went, Moose. Mm-hmm. All right, that's great. I love it. And obviously he's an impactful player. But the line he played on last night is not the line that Rod Brindamore is hoping for going forward. Although, on Rantanen's goal, super setup by Jack Roslovic, who, for all of his lack of face-off ability, and if you go back and you look at his history, he's never been good in the face-off circle, was the only player who was plus in the face-off circle last night. He was 11 out of 17. Good for you.
I know.
Good for you, Jack. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens when Carolina is fully operational. Because, you missed Aho and Hall last night. When you get to the playoffs, will William Carrier also be back? Juha Jaska played a good game last night, didn't play a ton. There's a lot of good players. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting. I need Pyotr Kochetkov to be better than, the first goal, that's not on him. And even though it was Connor Bedard, man, he made it easy on Connor Bedard. That puck probably shouldn't go. The way it was shot probably shouldn't go. But it did. And, it was right in front of him. So, you don't have to have it. But I think it's one that when he looks at, and I'm sure they already have, he would have liked to have had. They play the Kings tomorrow night. All right, you know what else is tomorrow night? Carolina at Duke. Remember yesterday we were trying to speculate on what the point spread would be.
Yeah.
Right? Well, I've seen it. It is not anywhere close to what I thought it would be. I thought it would be in the neighborhood of 16.5, 17.5 points. 13.5.
Oh.
That seems low to me. Which means that it probably is that for a reason. So, the rivalry does strange things. Carolina's like plus 680 on the money line. That's a lot.
Yeah.
But the rivalry does strange things. I could see this game being close because Carolina and Cameron Indoor Stadium is the place where you can find your shooting touch. A lot of teams go into that building and shoot the ball well. NC State shot it well, right? We've seen it. Who was it? BC was up there. They also shot it well. And Duke will allow you open looks from three. They will allow that. They don't really allow much else.
Mm-hmm.
If Carolina can get it going from three-point range and with Jackson and Davis potentially, those are two guys who can knock down threes. And I will tell you this. This is also the type of a game that all of a sudden, hey, look at that. Jalen Withers is alive.
Right.
And Cade Tyson. Oh, look, you can hit threes. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw things like that happen.
Hopefully we won't see people getting sick again.
No, we don't want to see that. Hopefully Common Malawach is okay. And hopefully no students will succumb to the heat and pass out. But to me, this game is really about how Duke approaches it. And if Duke doesn't play well, Carolina is more than capable of making Duke earn it. We could also see the Blue Devils put the clamps on Carolina, and that's it. That is out there. There are three potential outcomes. Carolina wins a close game. Duke wins a close game. Duke beats them over the head with a 2x4 for 40 minutes.
Right.
Those are the three potential outcomes. You decide which one that you want or which one you think will happen. Hubert Davis on going up against the Blue Devils.
They have tremendous length at every size, and so I think that's a huge determining factor of why they've been so good defensively, because of their length. They're athletic, they're long, they can cover a lot of space, and so to be able to punch gaps, get to the rim, get two on the ball, create open shots from the perimeter, you have to have tremendous spacing, you have to have ball movement, you have to run your offense with pace, you've got to take care of the basketball in order to get consistent good shots, and they also have the ability to switch everything, 1 through 5, and so when teams do that, just like Pitt did us in the second half, you've got your spacing, your ball and player movement has to be on point.
Yeah. And we talked to Tyler Zeller yesterday, and I asked him who would guard if he were Hubert Davis, who would he assign to guard Cooper Flagg? And he chose Seth Trimble. And he's an excellent defensive player. He's a great athlete. He is strong. He's going to give up a half a foot to Cooper Flagg, but because Flagg likes to play away from the basket, start with the ball away from the basket, you can be guarded by a smaller guy. He's not going to post you up. Now, he is going to take you down to the rim, so that would be an issue for UNC, which means that Jalen Washington needs to be healthy and fully operational. Otherwise, there's really not a lot of cover back there. So it's going to be an interesting matchup, a little bit of a chess match between Hubert Davis and John Shire. But when Hubert Davis is talking about length, he ain't lying. To be perfectly honest, in terms of the players that Duke uses in rotation, only Caleb Foster at 6'5". That's the smallest guy Duke's got. They have NBA size. Like flat-out NBA size on the perimeter. If, Cooper Flagg 6'9", Malawach is 7'2", you've got 6'10" on the bench in Pat Ngongba. So they've got size everywhere. It looks like Malik Brown might actually play in this game. Sion James is more tight end than he is college point guard in terms of his physique. You've got Mason Gillis, who's 6'6", 6'7". They have size everywhere, and a bunch of guys who can shoot. It's going to be a huge test for UNC. All right, let me get to a couple of other things. We're going to break. Brendan Marks is going to talk about this game with us coming up on the other side. So there's a story out. We all know that, remember Shohei Ohtani's interpreter, right? So the interpreter embezzled hundreds of, I actually don't even know the total amount of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions, whatever it is. He stole money from Ohtani. At least that's the working theory, and that's what he was arrested for. And he's going to end up going to, I don't think he's in jail yet. I don't know where the case is. But that's not important to this story. So the FBI has done their investigation. And the interpreter has claimed that he was a gambling addict, which is why he used Ohtani's money to cover gambling debts. Except the FBI's investigation has shown zero behavior of somebody who is a gambling addict. For instance, like no history of gambling debts. Is he a serial winner? I don't get that. So they don't have evidence of him frequenting casinos, losing or winning a lot of money in casinos. They don't have any evidence at all.
The basics of being a gambler.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right. They have no evidence at all that he is that he has a gambling addiction. So when you read the story, and I have, here's the only two possibilities for me. He is either simply a thief, which, hey, some people, that's how they roll. So he's either simply a thief or he's covering. I mean, if he wants to go into the Homeboy Hall of Fame like Brian Anderson who wore a year in federal prison to protect Barry Bonds. If he wants to do that, hey, c'est la vie. But, and I'm not saying that's the truth. I'm saying it's one or the other. Either this guy is simply a thief or he's covering.
Right.
I don't know which one it is.
I don't know what the option C would be.
I read the story. I go, doesn't seem to be a gambling addict. At least the FBI doesn't believe so. Although, can I even believe what the FBI says? Should I do that?
Right.
Should I believe the FBI? I don't know. I don't know if I should.
Get the tinfoil hats
I
out.
don't know if I should believe the FBI. All right, Brendan Marks from The Athletic. We're going to talk about Duke, North Carolina. Hey, I do want this, and we can throw this in the chat, and I do want to open the forum up for calls. It didn't work the last time we tried it, but maybe it'll work better this time. The best North Carolina Duke game you were at. I don't want to know what you watched on TV. You had to have been there, and I have no way of making you prove that you have been there. But we'll go on the honor system here. Best UNC Duke game you were at. All right, we'll do that, and you can throw that in the YouTube chat if you want, or I guess you can tweet it to me at EagleFan. All right, Brendan Marks from The Athletic next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
99.9 The Fan and Buffalo Brothers want you to be our big game VIP. Starting Monday, listen mornings from 9 to 10 during Next Up and afternoons during The Drive with Tim Donnelly to qualify for our football finale grand prize. Our big game VIP scores a reserved table for 6 at Buffalo Brothers on Lake Boone Trail February 9th and a $300 gift card. Big game VIP qualifying starts Monday. And remember, don't wait till the last minute to order your big game food. Buffalo Brothers is taking pregame orders now. Visit their 5 Triangle locations or buffbrothers.com. BetFresh.com.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why? It's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in North Carolina. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. TNCs apply.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling. We do the job right every time.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling is celebrating 51 years of trusted service. And to celebrate, get a furnace tune-up for just $51. That's peace of mind heating for only $51. Visit MitchellHVAC.com. Mitchell Heating and Cooling. Quality products and services on time from a family you trust. It's hard to stop a train.
The best solutions every time.
Our favorite reason to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler? Free service for life with no fine print. That's right. When you buy your engagement ring or any piece of jewelry at Diamonds Direct, you will never have to pay a dime in the future for sizing, cleaning, or routine maintenance. Even if she accidentally knocks out a side accent diamond, Diamonds Direct will replace it free. Now, other stores claim to offer warranties, but the catch is that they won't honor it unless you bring your ring in for regular inspections. But at Diamonds Direct, inspections are never required. There's no gotcha clause, no fine print, no looking for ways to void the warranty. Plain and simple, at Diamonds Direct, we stand behind what we sell, and we're committed to service it at no charge for life, period. Diamonds Direct, the jeweler you can trust with a no questions asked 100% free lifetime warranty with no strings attached. Come see us to learn more. Official jeweler of the Carolina Hurricanes and proud sponsor of NC State Athletics and proud to call the Triangle home. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection, one that helps better their everyday through the things they value most: friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
Gold. Gold.
Was the hug because of the soft, fuzzy thing you're wearing?
It's a comment. I'm a great hugger. People like to hug me. So, but yes, it's helpful when I'm soft and fuzzy.
Is that a skill?
It may be, yes.
I think it is a skill.
I think it is a skill.
Yeah.
You know who else gives really great hugs? Mike Meniscalco.
Really?
He is one of my favorite huggers. Yes. Every time I see him, he gives the best hugs.
I'm going to try that at the next home game.
Do it.
The Adam Gold Show.
Not going to lie, I forgot to do that yesterday.
Yeah.
I walked in the building with Mike also.
Oh.
And still forgot to prove how good a hugger he was.
Yeah.
We'll track down Brendan Marks in a second. Adam Gold here. This is the Adam Gold Show. That is Victoria. As we get to tomorrow's game, and NC State hosts Clemson, by the way, 1:30 at Lenovo Center, and the Hurricanes play the LA Kings at 7. So the ice will need to be ready by, I see players on the ice, or usually a player on the ice, in the 4:30 to 5 o'clock range. It's usually Jalen Chatfield goes out on the ice and goes through a routine. So 1:30, going to have to break that sucker down pretty quick. We don't want to see overtime kind of amazed that we have a 1:30 game with a 7 o'clock hockey game when, man, they could play that game at noon.
Yeah.
It's all right. I'm sure they've figured it all out. Hopefully everything will be okay. And hopefully the ice won't be terrible.
Yeah.
Right?
We do have some people who are already mentioning their favorite game.
That they were at.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that they attended.
I'm going to tell you my first one, and
Okay.
it was my first Duke Carolina game. 1994. I hadn't lived here yet. I was living in the Washington, D.C. area where I met my practice wife, and she was a Duke grad. And she got a student. Somebody gave her a student ticket. The game was in Chapel Hill. We were not at Cameron. We were in Chapel Hill. I actually referenced this game, I believe, yesterday. And I was doing work for Westwood One, and they gave me a media pass. And we somehow got into the Carolina student section. She's wearing a Duke sweatshirt. I wasn't really affiliated with either school because I was a Maryland grad. And we sat up in the Carolina student section, and this is when I guess this student section was pretty high up. And we watched 1 versus 2, Grant Hill's Duke team, which would ultimately play for the national championship and lose to Arkansas, against, I guess it was senior Eric Montross, the late Eric Montross, RIP, man, I miss him so much. A nicer person we have never had. And he was just incredibly kind all the time. But it was Montross's team. They were 2 in the country. Carolina beat Duke in that game. They stormed the court. It was awesome. That particular game was awesome. So that was the first one I had ever been to. 4 or 5 years later, I moved down. So do we have other I guess, entries, we would say?
Yes. Yes.
Right.
We actually have a few.
All right.
We do. So the first one from Hunter said that in 2011, senior night, the Hills won behind freshmen Barnes and Marshall, leading them to an ACC regular season title. It was their first Carolina versus Duke game. And they also said go Heels.
Yeah, of course.
There's another one. I love this one because this person was in the pep band. But from Jess, they have 2. They were a student in the Risers for the Hansborough-Gerald Henderson game.
Oh, I watched that at home.
Yes.
I watched that at home. Billy Packer, also RIP, insisted years later, after video evidence to the contrary, that Gerald Henderson was just trying to make a play on the ball.
Yeah. Yeah. So they were in the pep band senior night, so they were excited about that one. Yeah. And then there was another person, Jonathan, who went to the New Orleans Final Four. And so he said, wasn't the outcome that they wanted as a Duke fan, but was worth it for the Coach K's final game.
Yeah, the last game I went to, I think it was in 2016. The last Duke Carolina game I was at in person was 2016. But I've got a number of games that I thought were that just jump out to me. I asked Tyler Zeller for his most memorable game. I want to play Tyler Zeller because I asked him yesterday, what was the most memorable? I asked him for the best and the worst, the best memory and the worst memory of a UNC Duke game.
So best and worst go hand in hand. So obviously the Austin Rivers shot that everybody knows about.
I don't know what you're talking about, Tyler.
Yeah, I know. And I for the longest time I never even looked at the clip, but my heels are on the 3-point line and he made a heck of a shot.
Right.
But what frustrated me more is I went 2 for 4 on free throws in the last minute and a half, 2 minutes. And
gotcha.
So that's by far my worst because I feel more guilty about the free throws than I do giving up the 3. He made a great shot. I think, but conversely, to follow that up, because of that, we were very locked in going to their place and talking about being quiet. I remember with just between 30 and 45 seconds left in the game, we're up 16-18, and somebody's shooting a free throw, and Kendall Marshall makes a joke to John Henson, and Coach Williams just let into him. But it was completely across the court, and it was so quiet in Cameron that everybody heard it. And so that's one of my best memories, just because I know how quiet it was in there and how much we had just come in and did what we were supposed to. And so that's got to be one of my best memories. You know, from a fan perspective, you can't beat, you know, beating Coach K at home and then, you know, beating them in the Final Four.
Yeah, that was 22. So, and I guess once you play in the rivalry, you're always a fan. I didn't bring up Austin Rivers' shot. That was Tyler bringing that up. And I was not at that game. Otherwise, I mean, you can't beat a game like that. And I think most of us, I mean, I watched the Jeff Capel shot that extended the game. It didn't win the game, and Duke didn't even win the game. I remember the Jeff Capel shot. But I was watching that on television. I was not at that game. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. Brendan Marks is going to join us. We'll talk about this game. What's the formula for UNC to pull off, which would be a pretty substantial upset as 13.5-point favorites at Cameron Indoor Stadium? We'll ask him about that and see if best one he's remembered. Although I think he was probably at the one in 2022 when, whether it's at the Final Four or the one at Cameron Indoor Stadium, which was, I think, the Brady Manick game as much as anything. But we'll talk to Brendan Marks next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
I'm Faith. I work as an American Sign Language interpreter, and I just graduated from my bachelor's program. I texted 988 because at the moment where I needed help, I realized that I didn't have access to English at the moment. Sometimes speaking gets hard for me, and they just helped me calm down, and then I was able to find a friend. It's free, and you can get in touch with people who are trained to help through all sorts of crises.
Call, text, or chat 988 24/7.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit, investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is looking for people age 21 or older to volunteer in long-term care facilities. Community Advisory Committee volunteers help residents and their families advocate for the needs of individuals living in long-term care facilities, such as nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and family care homes. Volunteers must complete orientation and training to become designated and certified representatives of the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. Visit ncdhhs.gov/aging to find your county's ombudsman.
AARP is working hard to make sure people in North Carolina are getting the most out of life. Whether it's helping you stay healthy, save more money, care for loved ones, or simply have some fun, AARP is making a difference in communities across the state. You have a wise friend and fierce defender with AARP. Learn more about progress being made for older adults in the state by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
It's that time of year to come see me. Don't let COVID-19 and the flu stop you. So make sure you don't have to cancel on those you love the most.
By getting your flu and COVID vaccines. They're safe and effective.
Both flu and COVID vaccines have been updated to fight against new virus strains.
So make sure you don't miss that family gathering and protect those around you. Ask your healthcare provider about updated flu and COVID-19 shots.
Get protected this season with updated COVID-19 and flu shots. Visit myspot.nc.gov and find yours today.
It's back, the FanDuel Kick of Destiny, and this time it's every Manning for himself. This Super Bowl, two legends will take the field in a sudden death field goal showdown. Peyton versus Eli, live from New Orleans, one kick to claim ultimate family bragging rights. Who's going to rise to the moment? Pick your winner now in the FanDuel app, and if you back the right brother, you will earn a share of $10 million in bonus bets. The FanDuel Kick of Destiny. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com/AGS and bet with FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 59. FanDuel.com/AGS. Do it now. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. No purchase necessary. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
If you recently lost health coverage due to a life change, healthcare.gov is here for you. Like it was there for Marcus when he lost his job. And Keisha when she turned 26 and lost her parents' insurance. And Elena when she went off Medicaid. There are many other ways to qualify. Visit healthcare.gov today to see if you're eligible to enroll. Limited time to enroll. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
One Adam Gold. One Adam Gold.
So I was reading an article about the 10 oddest Guinness World Records, and the thing that caught my eye was most skips by a cat in 1 minute. This woman has a jump rope and is skipping with her cat. Okay, I have got a cat, and let me just tell you, the skipping alone would cause this, but swinging a jump rope anywhere near my sweet kitty Carol, she'd be gone for like 5 days.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. Brendan Marks from The Athletic. Court Vision, a must-read. He also, I've gone through the Duke Carolina mailbag. Covers not only Duke and Carolina, but he covers the entire sport for The Athletic, and he's awesome at it. Brendan joins us. All right, sir. Let's before I get into this particular game, do you have a favorite game of this rivalry that you have been in person for?
Yeah, for a while it was the 2019 ACC tournament semifinal, a.k.a. the only Duke-UNC game that Zion did play in. You had 6 first-rounders on the court. I mean, there's that sequence where, Zion goes up, has a dunk, UNC immediately gobbles the ball up, 2 passes, no dribbles down the court, dunks it on the other end. And, I mean, that was the best one for a while. Obviously, the Final Four has since surpassed that, just in terms of the stakes. That one had it the whole time. It had the ending, But that 2019 one, I think people don't appreciate just how – that was one of the last, great college basketball games that I can remember. Very fortunate to have been there.
Yeah, I have of all the – as I've gotten older and I've kind of gravitated towards hockey, I have been happy to not cover college basketball. But that particular, I had FOMO. I had serious FOMO in April of 2022. Or I guess that might have been late March. I don't even know. But I was mad that I was not there. All right, let's dig into this particular game, Brendan. North Carolina coming off a loss where they wilted down the stretch. Duke coming off a win over NC State that they, frankly, they were not impressive defensively in until late. So if you're North Carolina, what's your formula here? How do you attack Duke? How do you prevent them from getting what they want, where they want it? What is the plan?
Yeah, I think if you're North Carolina, unfortunately, just given the way this team is built, given the way this team has played, given the matchup itself, I don't know that you can win this game with defense. As we have seen from North Carolina this season, in the games against, high caliber competition at Kansas, Michigan State and Maui, Florida and Charlotte, we've seen in all of those games the way North Carolina has kept it close is with its offense. Right. So I think if North Carolina is winning this game, it's because of what it's able to do offensively, specifically 2 things. Number one, I don't think there is a weakness to this Duke defense. Obviously, it's not perfect, but it's the 3rd best defense in America for a reason. You can get 3-pointers against this Duke defense, as NC State showed in the first half on Monday night. 7 threes in the first half. That was the reason that game was close and competitive, and as soon as the 3 stopped falling, the game completely swung. I do think that if North Carolina can hit some threes, R.J. Davis, to me, has looked a little more comfortable shooting from deep lately. Obviously, we've seen that Ian Jackson can be a microwave guy. Seth Trimble's the one who, for me, since coming back from those few games he missed, his three-point rate has really, really dropped off. He's a guy who's got to see that a couple go in. But so number one, you've got to hit threes. And number two, you've got to get to the free throw line. Duke, unfortunately, is incredible at defending without fouling, so that one's a little harder. But when you think back to Michigan State, you think back to Kansas, you think back to Florida, North Carolina kept itself in those games by getting points at the line. Obviously, when it's doing that, it's not turning the ball over and it's not having these herky-jerk half-court offenses. So those are the two things to me offensively North Carolina has to do to win this game. Can they do them? That's a different question. But that is the formula if North Carolina is going to pull the upset.
You mentioned R.J. Davis. He has not had a great season, but it's getting better. So the overall percentage is creeping towards 30%. And when you were at 24% for a long time, for it to creep towards 30%, it seems like he's shooting closer to 40% over the last 5 or 6 games. He probably needs a 6 of 11 type game, but he is more than capable of that. I also think that, this is a game that all of a sudden, hey, look at that, Jalen Withers is back. Or Cade Tyson comes off the bench and hits a couple of shots, and just, you get caught up in the energy and the adrenaline of it all. Defensively, and I talked to Tyler Zeller about this yesterday. I asked him who he would put on Cooper Flagg. He said Seth Trimble. What do you think?
I don't think that's a bad idea. I just think that realistically, Cooper loves to live in the mid-range. And, one thing that's been such a problem for North Carolina all season is it's not just the fact that you have guards out there where you should have, wings and where you should have a little bit more length. It's the fact that the guards you do have are smaller. And Seth, I think, is, obviously the biggest, the strongest, and the most capable defender of the four of them. But at the same time, if you're Cooper Flagg and you've got Seth Trimble on your mid-range, that's automatic for Cooper Flagg every time. He's taking those shots without hesitation. He hasn't been a regular fixture in the rotation. I think that Jalen Withers should get some time on Cooper Flagg. He's long, he's strong, he's athletic. We've seen Dontrez Styles, I think, was a great example of this on Monday night. He was physical with Cooper.
Yeah.
That is a way, again, for as good as he is, Cooper Flagg is still a freshman. He's about 215, 220 pounds. If you have somebody who's got some grown man strength and can elbow him up a little bit, I do think that's one way that you can have some success against them, or that teams have in the past. Again, we're like nitpicking. The guy's still going to have, 28, 7, and 4. But I do think, I could see Seth getting some time. I think Drake Powell's going to get some time. I think that Withers should get some time. Realistically, to me, though, if you're North Carolina, you kind of let Cooper Flagg get his, and you cut off the passing lanes and don't let anybody else sort of play off him. That's where Duke has been at its most dangerous. And when teams have been able to clog the passing lanes, Wake Forest did a great job of that. That's really where he has struggled. And obviously when he struggles, Duke's overall offense takes a hit too.
Yeah, and I don't know if you were like me, but I'm watching this Duke State game on Monday night, and it looked to me like they had become just a, one-on-one offense. Like it all devolved into dribbling around to get a shot. The ball moved. State moved the ball much better than the Blue Devils, I thought.
Yeah, I think one thing that we've seen from Duke, and it was more paramount in the Wake Forest game, but the NC State game too, those I think have both been below Duke's offensive standards most of the season. It's about those guards, like we talk so much about Cooper Flagg and the defense and the length. Like Duke still needs Tyrese Proctor and Sion James to be productive for everything to work. They've got to be the connective tissues and the fibers, and often those are the guys who the kickouts wind up at. And I thought Sion, for the first time all game against Wake Forest, maybe didn't look ready for the moment. And Tyrese Proctor, the last 5 games or so, has struggled dramatically. I think that those guys, especially Tyrese Proctor, throughout his career at Duke, when his three-point shot isn't falling, we've kind of seen other aspects of his game regress too. He becomes less of a willing passer. He becomes less aggressive. He doesn't drive to the lane. He doesn't finish inside as well. Like, those two guys have got to be on for me for Duke offensively. Like, we talk so much about Cooper and Concanipple and the rim protection and the length. Again, those two guards have not been at their best the last couple of games. So, Duke has got to get them back reintegrated, going at the speed that they were, in order for this not to – because I agree with you. I think that NC State, especially in that first half, had much better ball movement. I don't think that's going to be the case for Duke the rest of the season, but it has been the past week or so, a little bit of a troubling trend.
Brendan Marks is joining us from The Athletic at this point in the season. And I know this game is different, but it almost seems like the Blue Devils are playing the Blue Devils every game, based on now what their own internal expectations are. And with no disrespect to Wake Forest, I think they're good. I think Pitt's good. State played. I love the way State played. I want State to play like that all the time. But I almost feel like Duke's playing themselves.
Yeah, I do think there's some element here of if you're Duke, or the guys are not thinking of this like consciously, but subconsciously, it's like a little bit more of we're playing not to lose rather than to win. Like at this point, we've won 14 straight. We haven't lost since Thanksgiving. We have a realistic shot at running the table in the league. Everybody's talking about us as a national title contender,
right.
being, number 2 team in the nation. Like, I do think there's some elements of that. Do I think that Duke is realistically, not going to lose another game this season? Probably not. I think human nature is just, you're going to have an off night at some point. I don't think it's a bad thing for Duke to lose a game the rest of the season. I think it's actually probably better that they lose a game and don't have any pressure of, running the table from here on out. But certainly, yeah, I agree with you. And again, in this one, like, who does this game mean more for? For Duke, this is another top 50, is this game more important than the Wake Forest game in terms of the standings, in terms of going to Clemson next weekend? Like, those games, I would argue, are just as, circled on their calendar at this point, strictly from the basketball standpoint. Obviously, there's greater circumstances surrounding this one. But, yeah, I mean, I think at this point there is a little bit of that sense from Duke. You've seen it in the second half, the fact that they've trailed in the second half now in back-to-back games after not having done so for 6 weeks before that, which is crazy to say. But I mean, I don't think they're going to run the table from here on out, but certainly I get a sense of that sentiment, just like you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it, and it's not a conscious thing, but I think Duke will lose a game if they want to. If they don't want to, if they play with the same level of attention to detail, I think they will, until we get either the Illinois game, and they've kind of fallen off of late, or when we get to the NCAA tournament. That, to me, Duke will determine the outcome of every game they play between now and then. Brendan Marks from The Athletic. I appreciate your time, sir. Enjoy. Don't get anywhere near Common Malawash if he's I don't know, had something to eat or something. Stay away from that.
I Towel Mountain forever, but no, I want no part of that. I'm hoping the Crazies are hydrated a little bit better this time too, but it should be a fun game.
Hey, thank you very much, man. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
You got it. Brendan Marks from The Athletic here on The Adam Gold Show. I'll tell you when we come back, I will tell you that first game I went to, I'll tell you the best Duke-UNC game I've ever been to when we come back on the other side. And I've got 2 really good candidates for that. But remember, you had to have been there, actually in the building. And I have 2 candidates for my best ever game. My first one was super memorable, though.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and do you have a late-night craving for in-depth analysis on the Carolina Hurricanes and their latest game, their latest win, their pursuit of a Stanley Cup? Well, I can quench your thirst. I can feed that appetite on the Canes Corner podcast, the morning after edition, which drops the morning after every Hurricanes game. Get it wherever you get your podcast. Brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time, and the month of January marks the 45th anniversary of bold flavors, Southern hospitality, and all of the timeless classics you get at Triangle Area Bojangles. In 1980, Triarch Food Systems, Inc. opened their first Bojangles in Selma, North Carolina, a welcoming place to come together and enjoy some made-from-scratch goodness. Here's to 45 years, and many more to come. Thank you, Selma. It's always bow time.
It's time for the Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month.
This is Creighton Blackwell from Coastal Credit Union and 99.9 The Fan, and we're here at South Garner High School to celebrate our next Scholar Athlete of the Month. And that Scholar Athlete is Samayan Jones.
It means a lot to me because my parents, they want me to do well and make it in life, so this is for them. I try to work hard in the classroom and on the court for them and do my best.
He's never trying to bring no negative energy, and I feel like that's what makes him a more productive teammate.
My teammates, they encourage me a lot because, I've been through injuries. They cheer me on because 2 games ago was my first time getting back on the court. So they cheer me on, encourage me every day. That's why I keep doing what I do.
He was always there in practice, just cheering us up and just carrying us on for practice, even though he wasn't playing. So that just shows what type of guy he is.
And then I have him in my class, so he's a great student as well. Just last week, one of his real good friends, he's like, Junior's just a good vibe, man. And that's what he is.
Congratulations, Samayan.
For over 20 years, 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union have been recognizing scholar athletes at Triangle area schools. If you'd like to nominate a high school athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326. That's AWARD to 919-860-5326.
Welcoming you back to appointment day at the Martinez house. Raul Martinez looking stressed about scheduling a colon cancer screening, but he just pledged to get screened.
Stand Up to Cancer and Optum want to help you reduce your risk for cancer. Visit takeahealthystand.org.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Yaska back for Jarvis. He scores! Another shorty for Seth Jarvis against Chicago. And the Canes take a 1-0 lead. Now he's coming the other way. Drops it for Rantanen. His shot. He scores! Welcome to Raleigh, Mikko Rantanen. It's 2-1 on Rantanen's first with the Canes. Blake looking for a shooting angle. That goes off the post. Rebounds available. They score! Jacob Slavin cashing in and crashing in from the blue line. And just like that, 51 seconds apart, the Canes have a 3-1 lead.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. The voice of Mike Maniscalco. Last night, the Hurricanes beat the Blackhawks 3-2. Really hung on to beat the Blackhawks 3-2.
I know. It got close there. That goal.
I mean,
Woo, the tie.
Look, it was. Chicago could have tied that game up. Carolina probably should have had, 4, maybe 5 goals, but they didn't, which we're kind of used to. They were also playing shorthanded. Mm-hmm. There were guys who were in the lineup playing who were not 100% because of the flu or whatever is whipping through the Hurricanes dressing room right now.
A guy apparently who had only been there for an hour after their flight.
I mean, Ryan Suzuki was there because, we can afford to dress this guy. So they could have gone 11-7, but they couldn't have gone 11. It would have been 10-7. So rather than have 2 forwards take extra shifts, they brought up Ryan Suzuki to have 1 forward take extra shifts. By the way, Seth Jarvis led the team in time forwards and time on ice. Mikko Rantanen was second. Jackson Blake was third.
No.
If Jackson Blake were stronger today, it would be wild to watch. He does. I know that there is a lobby out there that doesn't want to see Jackson Blake play with Sebastian Aho. They'll get Jackson Blake off the top line. I understand why you think that. He does at times get pushed off the puck. He does at times lose control of the puck. I do think that Jackson Blake playing 18 to 19 minutes a game probably isn't in the best interest long term for this team. It'll become more difficult in the postseason. When we get to the postseason, I do think things will change. As we get closer to it, I think things will change. But Jackson Blake is going to have an impact positively on this team this year. Whether it's playing with Aho and Rantanen or whether it's playing legitimately on a fourth line with Tyson Jost and Eric Robinson. I don't know. I don't know how that whole thing is going to work out. If William Carrier can come back, then the Hurricanes will have their checking line with Carrier, Martinook, and Stahl. Jarvis would go back up with Aho and Rantanen, which I think most Hurricanes fans would go, oh, yes, put that in my veins. And then you have to wonder, all right, Taylor Hall plays with Kotkaniemi and Svechnikov. Now where do we put Roslovic? Where do we put Blake? Where do I put Robinson? There's a lot of options. And Juha Jaska has played well, too. Tyson Jost, who played well before, has also played well when he's been asked.
It's good to have options.
The Hurricanes will suddenly have depth in the forward group if and when William Carrier can come back. Not to mention, maybe they add something else. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. John Forslund's going to join us in about 10 minutes or so. So let's run it back. All right, so we'll start. We've been talking basketball. We thank Brendan Marks for joining us. Hubert Davis, head coach at North Carolina. And if you've read Brendan's Duke Carolina mailbag, there's, I guess there is a way to verify it, but who wants to do it? Is this Duke team the biggest in terms of tallest team where all of their starters are over 6'5"? But every player that Duke brings in a regular rotation is at least 6'5". And North Carolina, right now, if Jalen Washington can't play, which he didn't play the last game because he got hurt in the BC game, if Jalen Washington can't play, then basically they don't have anybody over taller than 6'6". Like, Duke's starting two-guard, Sion James, he's 6'6". He's a future NFL tight end, I think. Actually, he could play in the NBA probably. Anyway, Hubert Davis was asked about dealing with Duke's size.
They have tremendous length at every size, and so I think that's a huge determining factor of, why they've been so good defensively, because of their length. They're athletic, they're long, they can cover a lot of space, and so to be able to punch gaps, get to the rim, get two on the ball, create open shots from the perimeter, you have to have tremendous spacing, you have to have ball movement, you have to run your offense with pace, you've got to take care of the basketball in order to get consistent good shots, and they also have the ability to switch everything, 1 through 5, and so when teams do that, just like Pitt did us in the second half, you've got to your spacing, your ball and player movement has to be on point.
Carolina's going to have to shoot it really well. Really well. Duke will switch. Duke will also flash zone. And their zone, because of Duke's length, especially on the perimeter, and they are not sitting out there in a 2-3 zone. It is not It looks to me like it's more of a 1-2-2 zone, but it definitely it has a ability to flex and reshape depending on where they think the ball is going. And in the last 2 games, when they have used it, it has changed the game defensively for them. Brendan said it. I said it before. Duke will allow the 3-point shot. So if you're North Carolina, you'll probably get some opportunities. But I do think that if you're UNC, you want to soften Duke up by driving them, because I thought State did a pretty good job of driving the ball. I thought whether it was Trey Parker or and they had a few players who I thought did it effectively. Heck, even Michael O'Connell did on a couple of possessions. I thought Marcus Hill did it too. I thought they were effective putting the ball on the floor and driving Duke. Elliot Cadeau's going to have to do that. Seth Trimble's going to have to do that. But I will just say, if you're looking at a statistic for whether or not North Carolina has a chance in this game, they cannot get pounded on the glass. Cannot. The Duke is one of the better offensive rebounding teams in the country, and Carolina, for the first time in my lifetime, isn't very good at rebounding.
I know, it's weird to see.
Unbelievable. So they've got to be able to be better they at least have to neutralize Duke on the glass. If they can do that, then they probably will have a chance to win this game. But man, that is a tall order. Duke is so big, they're good on the glass as well. And Duke's guards rebound. I mean, James and Proctor, Knipple is good on the offensive glass. They keep possessions alive, and that will be a problem for UNC. All right, one quick thing. We asked Jay Williams, who joined us yesterday, best memory for you of the rivalry.
Probably my senior night, having 38 against them, and probably missing multiple chippies to have a 40-plus game.
Right.
I definitely missed about 3 or 4 chippies. I could have had about 46 or 48. But it was something about, like, my senior night as a junior, graduating school year early, surpassing the NBA draft my sophomore year. But, like, that stamp, right? Like, I mean, the first big tournament I played in AU-wise where I started to get recognized was the Bob Givens tournament, like, at Chapel Hill. So, like, that baby blue always brought me back to, like, where I started to find myself. It was probably between that game and then the game, obviously, where we went into Chapel Hill after losing Carlos Boozer. And
yeah,
I think I had 36 that game, too, where we just took the wind out of the building. It felt great to do that.
So that was a game where I think the prevailing thought was that Duke, without Boozer, wasn't going to be able to beat UNC. And I know Duke started Casey Sanders, who was tall. He didn't play a lot. But Duke essentially went small, and it was a blur. They just ran all over Carolina at the Smith Center that game. I don't think we're going to see anything like that coming up. If Duke plays well, this won't be a competitive game. If Duke plays well,
yeah,
it's up to Carolina to make Duke not play well. I'm not kidding. Carolina's good enough to make Duke not play well. But if Duke does what they want to do, I don't think we're going to have a competitive game. All right, we're going to take a break. John Forslund on the other side. We'll get the take from the Western Conference on what just happened a week ago today. Next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Looking at both UNC and NC State basketball this year, it has to be more than just you look good when you hit shots. The coaching, both Hubert Davis and Kevin Keatts, have to figure out a way to put their team into better positions rather than just hoping the players can knock down the shots in tougher positions. It's not great coaching if someone hits a fadeaway three.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling. We do the job right every time.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling is celebrating 51 years of trusted service. And to celebrate, get a furnace tune-up for just $51. That's peace of mind heating for only $51. Visit MitchellHVAC.com. Mitchell Heating and Cooling, quality products and services on time from a family you trust. It's hard to stop a train.
The best solutions every time.
Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. The insurance company wants to pay you the least amount possible. Law Tigers are riders too, so we understand what your bike and gear are worth and what you're going through after an accident. Your case evaluation is always free, and we don't get paid until your case settles. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Right now at Wendy's, get 2 of these fave items for just $7. The spicy or classic chicken sandwich, Dave's single, or 10-piece nugs. It's an incredible deal, but an insanely difficult choice. Do you go double chicky sando, both spicy and classic, 1 beefy and 1 chicky? Or maybe you go all in on one and go Nug Max. 2 faves for just $7? Gotta be Wendy's.
At participating Wendy's for a limited time only. Select a request 2 for $7 deal to redeem. Not valid in a combo or with saucy nugs. Single item at regular price. Prices may be higher.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, and absolutely every play in between is amazing. From football to basketball and hockey to baseball, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only.
Reason number 52 to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler. Only Diamonds Direct gives you a 110% diamond upgrade guarantee. Let us explain. If you buy a diamond at Diamonds Direct today and decide in the future you want to upgrade to a larger diamond, Diamonds Direct will give you 110% of your original purchase price toward the new stone. For example, let's say you bought her a $5,000 diamond last year, but now she wants to upgrade to a $6,000 diamond. Diamonds Direct will give you $5,500 toward the new one. That's 10% more than you paid the first time. Guaranteed appreciation. Whether that first diamond was $3,000 or $30,000, you get 10% more. Who else does this? And unlike other stores who claim to offer diamond upgrades, at Diamonds Direct, there's no fine print and no minimum purchase requirement. It's 10% more, period. Come and discover real value and buy with confidence. Official jeweler of the Carolina Hurricanes and proud sponsor of NC State Athletics and proud to call the Triangle home. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
This is Adam Gold.
What, a minute 53 into the game? Heat of the moment?
Right.
What kind of heat of the moment is that? We haven't even gotten to simmer yet.
I know. Did someone flip him off in the parking lot? Like, what are we...
Seriously.
The Adam Gold Show.
Is this a song about Seattle?
It is. It's called Hello Seattle.
Hello
which I
Seattle.
Was perfect.
Is that
for
like a morning show?
I know.
Wake up, Seattle.
Yeah.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. That's Victoria. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, your favorite Duke UNC game that you were at. I will give you my 2 favorites. I already gave you the first one I was at that was memorable. Give you my 2 favorites coming up in just a little bit. But right now, the voice of the Seattle Kraken. Also, TNT. Prime Monday in Canada. He is the one and only John Forslund, who joins us. How are you, sir?
I'm well, Adam, but whoever came up with that tune probably should have called that Good Night, Seattle.
It is maybe a little bit sleep-inducing.
That is. I mean, this can be sleepy out here, but this place rocks. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they captivated the entire deal out here with that song.
I wonder if there's a grunge version of that song.
There has to be.
I'm sure there is.
It's on the floor somewhere.
All right, so a week ago today, I was sitting, or maybe not at this exact hour, I was in the kitchen doing dinnerish types of things between 8:30 and 9, and I look over at my phone, and I thought my phone had gone into cardiac arrest. It just blew up, and then all of a sudden we had to come up with all these things, figure out all the particulars in the deal. And so many people have gone over the top. I've tried not to. I don't know that this upsets the balance of power in the Eastern Conference. It could. I don't know that it has yet. But what was your first reaction when Mikko Rantanen and Taylor Hall, who frankly maybe has been better than Mikko Rantanen? That's not a knock on Mikko Rantanen. Taylor Hall has been, I think, dynamite in the 2 games that he's played. What was your first reaction when you heard about the deal?
We couldn't believe it. I mean, I know exactly where I was. I was having dinner with my good buddy Eddie Olczyk, and we do this every once in a while, much to my chagrin, but we were having dinner, and nice conversation, and the phone started going, and messages started coming in, and then we're getting the deal piecemeal. And, it looked like, Marty was part of the package. It looked like Kokaniemi was going and all these different things and who's getting picks, and now Chicago's involved. Anyway, it's intriguing, and what this has done is set up 2 things in my mind. Number one, this is a copycat league, and I think teams now that have a valued piece, a star piece, that they feel might not go the right path for their franchise financially, will start to act on that player much sooner than the deadline, and much sooner than obviously the off season, where you could either lose the player for very little or nothing,
right?
And make a deal. And I think we'll start to see more of this, which is good for the league. It creates a lot of excitement. It pushes teams out of their comfort zone. We're getting very predictable as a league in terms of, blockbuster deals are made at the draft.
Yeah.
Some deals are made July 1. The signings, obviously, July 1. Then there's no signings. Then there's a couple things on the periphery in September. And then we have nothing until the trading deadline. It's rather boring for the fans, and certainly for us that cover the league. So that part of it could be something that we see play out in the future. And the other thing that it's created here is another season. We have whatever's happened now until now, and whatever happens now through the break and beyond the break. But once we get to March 7th, then we're going to know what the second season before the playoffs is going to look like, because it will create an arms race in the East. It will force teams that are competing with the Hurricanes to do something, and we're not going to know as observers of the league what to do and how to assess any team until it's all over. And then we'll see, what the rosters look like and who's playing the best with their new pieces.
John Forslund is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show, and here's the reason I've pushed back on all the, Vegas has made the Hurricanes the betting favorite in the East. And I think a lot of the people that cover the league nationally have just ascended Carolina to the position of the team to beat. I personally still think it's Florida as the team to beat. I still wonder if the Devils can figure – I don't know why the Devils aren't better than the Devils are. I know Jacob Markstrom's injury has something to do with it, but the Devils were kind of going sideways before Jacob Markstrom's injury. In fact, the Devils kind of looked like the Hurricanes had for about 5 weeks, where Carolina was essentially playing .500 hockey for 5 weeks. I think the Hurricanes have sort of come out on the other side, at least in terms of results. But I still think for Carolina, it's about Aho and Svechnikov more than it's about Rantanen and Hall, and it's about the goaltending. Because I think if the goaltending doesn't hold up, and Kochetkov wasn't awesome last night, if the goaltending doesn't hold up, I don't think any of it matters.
Yeah, you're right on the money, and I applaud you for always being kind of the voice of reason when it comes to this, because the Hurricanes should be on another level as opposed to other teams. But over the last few seasons, I think have been, in my opinion, overrated in some ways when you look at how they play and how they have their makeup in place. I'm going to go back to what I think I talked to you about earlier in this season, if not at the very beginning, and maybe both times. In my opinion, for the Hurricanes to take the next step to get to be a championship team, they got to wipe out any kind of arrogance that's within their game. Not that the players are arrogant, the
Right.
coach is arrogant, or the team, the franchise, the owner, whatever it is. I'm saying the way they view their own game and how they play. They still need to, in Rod's words, dig in more. And with the new pieces, Mikko Rantanen, will he dig in with as much commitment with a new team and worrying about, and only he can answer this, where he goes next or if he stays? Is that going to be the same to get them to win the Stanley Cup? Is Sebastian Aho going to take another step to be even better than where he's at right now, which to me needs to be better? Same with Svech. Are all of these things going to be in play? Then they win. But if not, you're just dealing with an on-paper scenario where you have great pieces and you can get through a season, and they're good enough to beat everybody 85% of the time, really, or should.
Yeah.
And then they go, and like most teams, it's 82 games with travel. It's hard for everybody to be good all the time. You're going to have dips. And it's just, where you're at when it ends and what it actually looks like, and if you're going to be able to beat the champions who have already won the cup and know what it takes and will get in the trenches for 2 weeks and beat you. That's where the Canes have to go.
Yeah, and it's funny, when the Hurricanes have come up against, theoretically, the best teams, especially lately, they've played fine.
Yes.
The win over Vegas, the way they played against Toronto, the game they played in Florida after having lost the 2 games previously to the Panthers. So we know what they're capable of. I hate to say that they've kind of taken their eye off the ball against some of the other teams. The loss to the Ducks, to me, that was about goaltending, but Carolina should have scored more. But just because you spoke about Aho and Svechnikov, because this is something that I've been on top of all year. I think Aho has played hard. I almost think Aho is trying too hard to score. And maybe sometimes that doesn't lead to scoring. Sometimes it leads to overthinking, and there have been times where he has looked to pass when he should shoot, and vice versa. I think at some point it'll click, and when it does, maybe it'll be glorious, but it hasn't clicked yet, offensively.
Yeah, and then they have time. They have time to figure this out, because right now they're good enough to figure out if a game's going sideways within a specific game, they can win it. So, but that's not going to win in the playoffs. But there's time. They're in a spot. They know what they have. They might make another move. Who knows? And everything else really doesn't matter. The speculation about Rantanen, staying or not, and who wins the deal if he does in fact leave, if he signs, who cares? Because that player and his agent are the only 2 people that are going to figure that one out. Because whatever is going to be there for Mikko Rantanen at the end of the season is going to be a boatload of money, no matter who it is.
Yes.
So, it's just how he fits the framework of their game and how they dictate the control of the game without, vacillating around and relying on a power play and relying on a big moment shorthanded to get them through a game, or a huge save sequence or whatever it is. They just need to make sure they have all of that locked tight, because, as of right now, the only other team I think in the East that you could say that about maybe, is Florida. I think every other team, the Leafs, all these teams that New Jersey, all of them that are Washington even, Washington might be the most rock solid team I've seen recently. Okay. And I think they deserve a little bit more credit than they're getting. for a remarkable regular season, but they still have to prove it in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's funny. They've like Logan Thompson's had a great year, but I mean, is that real or is that a great year? We've seen goaltenders have that type of a season kind of out of nowhere, and I'm not saying it's probably not completely out of nowhere. We've seen flashes of that from Logan Thompson before, and I still have a hard time. I close my eyes and go, really, Dylan Strome is the so those type.
Well, the goalies. I mean, you lived it there with Ned, right? So I mean, Ned's year was spectacular, but it wasn't. You know, his career is gone as a good NHL goalie. That's what he is.
Yeah.
But he looked like the second coming at one point. You know, so that's what we're talking about.
John Forslund is joining us here. I want to get your take on the salary cap, which is going up. I think at the beginning of the season, the initial update was, I guess estimate was going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $92 million. It's going up to $95.5, which is an increase of about $6 million, right? Over last year, it was like basically 89. So $6.5 million, and then they know it's going to go up almost 10 more million after that, and then almost 10 more million after that. So by the time we get to 27, 28, the salary cap will be like 25% higher than it is now. Gary Bettman has obviously done a good job with this league. That's going to, I mean, what an influx of cash we've got coming.
Okay, yeah. First of all, on Gary, he's a fantastic commissioner.
Yep.
People can say whatever the hell they want to say about him. He is a fantastic commissioner, in my opinion, because it's really the end game that's the most important thing. And when you look at where it was in '93 and where it is now, it's remarkable. And so these numbers are astounding because it shows the future, and they're not going to throw it out there without two things in play. They know it's going to be there, and they're comfortable with it. Now, the owners are not going to throw out a number for future salary caps unrealistically, or they're going to throw something out there that they couldn't still not make money on.
Right.
Okay? So they're still going to make their money, or potentially make their money. And that's the goal here. So that's a good sign for the league. The league has grown. This is a generation of players that we have right now is outstanding. The game is exciting. There's future television money that's on the horizon. Streaming. There's a lot of things that are going to broaden the scope. And this is the first view of it. And it's important with upcoming CBA negotiations on the horizon that both sides understand what the real numbers are, so that nobody is stupid enough to blow it up when they get there at the table again. We've already been there 3 times. Let's not do that again. And so this also shows the teams, like the one that you're around there, you know, what you can do moving forward. And boy, it's going to set up players now, and that's a big reason why Colorado had to make a decision on this player. They love the player. The player fit in with their best player, but they also have a defenseman that's due in a couple of years that's going to be right there among one of the highest paid players in the history of hockey. Cale Makar is going to make a ton of money. He and McDavid are going to be maybe 1 and 2 because he's a defenseman. Like it's a different ball game. So his contract's going to be monumental. So they have to make these decisions. But these are all positives for hockey, and it's a good thing. And when you look around the league, the buildings, by and large, are thriving. You know, we don't really have, soft crowds anymore in South Florida and in Raleigh and in Columbus and in other places. They will vacillate based on the success of the teams now. But for the most part, this is a different situation than we've been in the past.
Yeah, I know. I watched the game at Utah. That looks like a fun place.
Unbelievable! I couldn't believe it. I didn't know what to think. Unbelievable atmosphere. I mean, it's going to, and they're looking at a new building and the Olympics in 36, I think. And there's and good for the players who have gone through a circus in Arizona and tried to be NHL players and play in the environments they've had to play in Arizona. If Arizona comes back, and I think the league still loves the market, it has to be with quality ownership, and that's what gets you through. And that's been seen now with this, where the NHL is right now. Every market has quality ownership who has the ability to be deep-pocketed and give the fans what they want to see.
Yeah, I mean, no better example of that than here. I don't know how many consecutive sellouts the Hurricanes have had.
Unbelievable. And he is swinging for the fences.
Yep.
And you know me. I mean, I had my own situation, there, but I'm going to call it as I see it right now. And they are swinging for the fences, and more power to him. And he's empowered a guy, and Eric Tulsky, who is an outlier in terms of, his background and now the position that he's in. But remember, he was hired by Francis way back when.
It was.
Like that's and Tom inherited Eric. And I love Eric Tulsky. I wish him all the best, and I applaud the Hurricanes for just saying, okay, we're gonna go for it again, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I've looked at this move as more of a move for the future than the present, because I do think that they are equipped if all goes. I mean, I don't even think they have to win the cup. If Rantanen believes the environment is good for him, then I think the Hurricanes will have no problem at all paying him what he needs to stay here, and they're going to have the room.
Absolutely, and relationships are important, and he and Sebastian have that. And if he wants to do it, he will. Or if he wants to go to the highest bidder, he'll have that opportunity. He'll make it's all. He's in the driver's seat.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt.
No doubt about that. Can we talk Four Nations next time?
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Are you headed for any of that, or are you going to be home for a while?
No, I'm not doing. I'm taking the 2 weeks off, and
Nice.
I'll be available for you whenever you need it. And I'm just going to rest up. And I've been doing endless cycles of 8 games and 9 nights in 8 different cities, and I'm good. I feel great, thank God, and I'm happy, and I love to work. But there's also time to rest and recuperate. And that's what I'll be doing.
I'll bug you during the Four Nations. It should be fun. Thank you so much.
Should be great.
John
Okay,
Forslund, the best in the business. All right, I want to get to your favorite Duke Carolina games that you have attended. If you want to do this on the radio, that's fine. I'm going to tell my 2 favorite games. I've already given you my first one, which was unforgettable. The Carolina win over Duke in the 1-2 game in 1994 with me, not a student, on a media pass, not working, with my then practice wife, former Duke student, who somehow got a student ticket, and we ended up sitting in the Carolina student section, she wearing a Duke sweatshirt and getting side-eye from everywhere, and me just there. And again, I was a Maryland grad and a Maryland fan, but just taking all of that in. And Eric Montross and company beat Grant Hill. It was a close game. Carolina pulled away late, and then the place just, roof came off of it. But my 2 favorite games that I was at for Duke Carolina. If you want to do this on the air, it's fine. 919-860-5326. Is that the right number?
It is.
Okay.
919.
It's been a while.
860.
5-fan.
5326.
5326.
Mm-hmm.
Should have you do it. I just did.
You
did.
Yeah. Or you could chime in on the YouTube stream. We've had a few there, so you could chime it in there.
All right, so I'm going to do the most recent of the games that I saw. And I admit to having almost an unhealthy, we'll just say, crush as a basketballer on Tyus Jones. If I were putting my all-time Duke starting 5 together, Jay Williams would play the 2 guard, not the point guard. Tyus Jones would be the point guard. Carolina has a 10-point lead with about 4 minutes to play at Cameron. This is the year Duke won the national championship with Jahlil Okafor, Justice Winslow, Tyus Jones, Quinn Cook had that monster year. Grayson Allen was on that team too. But Carolina was leaning on Duke. Carolina was big, leaning on Duke, and opened up a 10-point lead with about 4 minutes to go. With about 2.5 minutes to go, it was a 7-point lead. Still, Carolina in control of the game. Tyus Jones, with about a minute 30 left, went on a personal 9-2 run. Got that game into overtime, and Duke won it in overtime, I think by 2. But Tyus Jones, the little guy on the court, took over the game, and that's the kind of player he was. If you watched, and I was not at this first game, but Duke played Wisconsin earlier in that season in the Big Ten ACC Challenge, and that's where Tyus Jones was from. They were from, I think, Appleton, Wisconsin. So playing a game at Wisconsin was a big deal to him and his family, Trey Jones, the brother. And he had like 30-some-odd points in that game, just completely took it over. And I would argue that among all the players on that team for Duke, Quinn Cook had a great year, and Justice Winslow was awesome, and Okafor might have been the player of the year in the league. I think Tyus Jones was their best player. It was easily their most important player. And he had that ability because he had the ball to simply take over games. And to see him do that, and I was standing, they put the media that year, at least some of us, were on the risers in between the two benches. So I stood for the whole game, but okay. Tough life. That was one of the best performances I have ever seen in a Duke-Carolina game by anybody, and we've seen amazing performances. And the other game for me was the game in Chapel Hill, and I think it was in 2004 when Chris Duhon won it at the buzzer with a layup. It was just one end to the other, and that was a game where I think both teams were just delivering haymakers at one another. Now, I've enjoyed games watching them, but I'm talking about the games that I recall when I was at them. And I did not cover every UNC Duke game in person. I have seen some blowouts one way or the other that frankly weren't fun or memorable, so they don't count. I'm talking about the games that absolutely I remember details of. I remember when Justice Winslow tripped. Who was it? Was it Justin Jackson for UNC? Yeah, it was not good. It was not good. You hate to see that kind of stuff. I mean, you could be as handsome as you want, and maybe you get away with that. Justice Winslow was a handsome player. But, that kind of stuff we don't necessarily need. But to watch Tyus Jones do his thing was just the most incredible thing that I had seen. So, to me, that one specifically in 2015 was, I think, my most memorable Duke-Carolina game that I was at in person. So I don't know how many I covered. I covered a lot. But that one stood out to me. I've already talked about the first game I ever covered when I moved here was C.C. Harrison's 8 of 9 from three-point range at the Smith Center, where he could not be stopped. It was the most incredible thing I'd ever seen. Maybe I was bad luck for UNC. I don't know. But there you go. All right, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna come back. We'll stretch. We will place bets. It will be your daily Super Bowl prop. Right? I've already got the list. Mm-hmm. I've got the list of 4. Yesterday was Jalen Hurts, 2 or more touchdown passes at plus 172. We'll do that next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
I choose to stay up to date on my vaccines to protect what matters most, my community.
Don't let COVID-19 and the flu stop you.
So make sure you have protection against new virus strains that continue to spread this fall and winter.
Don't wait. Get up to date.
Because my health is our health.
Ask your healthcare provider about updated flu and COVID-19 shots.
Don't wait. Get your updated shots today.
Visit myspot.nc.gov and find yours today.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is looking for people age 21 or older to volunteer in long-term care facilities. Community Advisory Committee volunteers help residents and their families advocate for the needs of individuals living in long-term care facilities, such as nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and family care homes. Volunteers must complete orientation and training to become designated and certified representatives of the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. Visit ncdhhs.gov/aging to find your county's ombudsman.
AARP is working hard to make sure people in North Carolina are getting the most out of life. Whether it's helping you stay healthy, save more money, care for loved ones, or simply have some fun, AARP is making a difference in communities across the state. You have a wise friend and fierce defender with AARP. Learn more about progress being made for older adults in the state by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
It's okay not to be okay. Feelings of loneliness, anger, and worry are completely normal, and you're not alone. If you need help coping, call, text, or chat the free 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Someone is always there to talk, day or night. Together, we will find the care that works for you. Just call, text, or chat 988 anytime to talk to a trained counselor who will listen, provide support, and connect you to other resources that can help. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, I'm Dr. Miller, a dentist and a volunteer for Dental Lifeline Network. I learned about DLN shortly after graduating dental school. I wanted to help people who are not able to access the oral health care they need. As a new dentist, I wondered, do I have the skills to provide the care they need? And do I have the time when trying to build a new practice? Even now, after 10 years, I can tell other dentists, yes, you can, and this is a no-brainer. Dental Lifeline Network is a nonprofit that has helped me literally change the lives of people in my community through the Donated Dental Services program. DLN asks dentists to volunteer to see just one of the many patients in need each year. If you're a dentist or know a dentist, please share this important information. It's easy. DLN screens those in need and coordinates the initial appointment. Patients are treated right in your office on your schedule. If you're like me and want to make a real difference in someone's life, DLN makes it possible.
Go to willyouseeone.org to learn more. That's willyouseeone.org.
If you need health coverage due to a life change, healthcare.gov is here for you. Like it was there for Terrence and Jody when they got married, and Sophia when she had a baby, and Gary when he moved and needed new insurance. There are many other ways to qualify. Visit healthcare.gov today to see if you're eligible to enroll. Limited time to enroll. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
This is Adam Gold.
I know Bill Belichick is making his weekly appearance on McAfee right now. It almost looks like he's in the connecting area between the two train cars.
Yeah.
Right?
Girl washing station in a lab.
Carolina hazmat suit he's got on. It's weird.
It has sleeves and everything.
Very, very strange wherever Belichick is.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria's on the ones and twos. Looking forward to the roundtable. We're going from the mountains to the coast. Got a lot of different things to talk about, including Duke, Carolina. A little bit about the Super Bowl, I'm sure. Plus, who so far has been the worst coaching hire in the NFL? The worst coaching hire in the NFL. All right. We'll get to all of that when we get to the roundtable. Right now, it is time to stretch.
Okay, so it's crazy to think about, but we start a new month this weekend.
Tomorrow, even.
Today is the last day of January. So I always like to highlight some of the things that we have to look forward to in the next month. So sports related, we've got the Pro Bowl this Sunday. We also have the Super Bowl next Sunday. The Daytona 500 and the NBA All-Star Game are on the 16th of February. You'll like this. MLS soccer starts back on the 22nd of February.
I will like that. Are you sure?
And the PGA has two big events, the Phoenix Open and the Genesis Invitational. 2 weeks from now, so you have that to look forward to in sports world.
Phoenix Open
February.
is that's their the crazy event in terms of the crowd goes bananas. The crowd is super drunk. Yeah.
Well, that would help.
Not even lying. Like it's almost encouraged.
Oh, okay.
Like for the fans to get completely sauced.
Oh, there you go. That's one way to do it.
That is always Super Bowl weekend. And the Genesis, which is a tournament sponsored by Tiger Woods, has to move. Usually is at Riviera Country Club in Los Angeles. It has to move because of the wildfires. They're doing it in San Diego, where they just were last week.
Oh, okay.
They're actually going back, turning around, going right back to Torrey Pines.
Oh, wow.
And having it there.
Oh, wow. All right, then. Well, that would be interesting to watch. See, that's probably
Not
where
for you.
would
You
see
hate it. You won't watch it.
I will not watch it. I will not.
You will
but
not watch it. It's
maybe
fine.
for people who are watching it, they'll be entertained. But who knows? There also are some awards happening next month, aka tomorrow. So this Sunday, the Grammys are going on. Also, the Critics' Choice Awards. Don't think I've ever watched that, but that's next Friday. So the Spirit Awards are the 22nd.
What are those?
I don't know. See, the Spirit Award sounds like the Phoenix Open, apparently.
Yeah.
Like, that's the kind of spirits.
The Spirits Awards.
Yeah. So there's that. Also on TV, we've got shows like The Voice, The Masked Singer.
No.
Cobra Kai is coming back again. More of that. And Yellow Jackets I've not seen, but I've seen a lot of advertisements for that.
Cobra Kai.
I know, they're still doing it. They're still doing it. So and still go. Also, the 48th season of Survivor is coming on. So, wow. 48 seasons of those. That's, there you go. And season 2 of 1923 starts this month, which is actually a good season. I've watched that. It's pretty entertaining. So, also, fellas, do not forget, Valentine's Day is this month. So,
it is.
Don't let 2 weeks go by and then you're at CVS 2 hours before you're about to see your lady. So, yeah, no. And then we also have Groundhog Day this Sunday. So we'll see.
It's this Sunday.
Yes, we'll see what Punxsutawney Phil sees or doesn't see. Or who knows.
He's going to see creepy old men in stovepipe hats.
Right, with weird hats.
That's what he's going to see.
Yes, and then he's going to want to say, put me back down.
And he'll declare there's going to be 6 more weeks of winter. Unhand me, you old creepy man.
Exactly. Well, one thing that's not creepy that's going on, an Ohio State football fan who likes to classify themselves as the number 1 fan celebrated the national championship by doing a good deed. He handed out 16 $500 scholarships to kids in Northwest Ohio.
Did he?
His name's John Peters. He goes by Big Nut because his wife thinks he's crazy when he watches these football games. Like, he goes crazy for it. So he's got that nickname.
What again? What is his nickname?
Quote, Big Nut, because he's a crazy nut. So, whatever. So he said he's not super rich. He's just a blue-collar guy who wanted to help out some people.
Yeah.
So
There's
you go.
nobody who's super rich
Yeah.
who allows himself to be called Big Nut.
Exactly. I mean, Jay Will is giving out a lot of money this weekend, but I don't think that's his nickname.
No, it's not Jay Will's nickname. No, it's not.
No. So.
You know what? We should probably just move to a different story.
What we should do is there's a lot going on this weekend. We should place our bets.
All right,
Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
So, there are only 2 places I'm going. I'm only going to the Duke Carolina basketball game in terms of with my bets this week.
Right.
And my Super Bowl prop. It's the only thing I'm doing today. So my bet will 100% be determined, because we're going to do some like little prop bets here too. Will 100% be determined by what I think will happen in the game, and we'll kind of lead you into that. But do we have organized violence this weekend?
We do. We have UFC Saudi Arabia. So, yeah, but I don't know if I'm going to be awake for that one because it starts at 6 o'clock in the morning tomorrow.
Yeah, well, there are 8 hours ahead, I believe, in Saudi Arabia.
Yes, a little brunch and punch, if you will. So, I don't know. So, first up, Sergey Pavlovich versus Yerzino Rosenstruck. I think Sergey's going to win this one. Both of these guys, it's going to be a heavyweighter. So both of these guys like to knock out their opponents. Give me Sergey to do just that. He is minus 220, but that's always good to put in parlay.
All right. So what weight class is he?
Heavyweight.
He's a heavyweight.
Yeah, these are big guys.
So how heavy are heavyweights in MMA? Is it the same as like boxing, where you're talking about around 200 pounds?
It's pretty similar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gosh,
because once you get to a certain point, you can weigh however much.
Gosh,
yeah.
Just kill each other.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to start with my prop bets for Duke, Carolina. This will lead you to believe where I'm headed. To score 15 or more points. Elliot Cadeau plus 275. I kind of feel like it should be more.
Yeah.
But I think he is a catalyst to how North Carolina can be effective in this game. So, Elliot Cadeau, 15 or more points plus 275.
Okay, well, my next one, Michael Page versus Shara Magomedov. This will be a good one. Both of these guys are really feisty. However, Magomedov, he's been really good lately, and so it's hard to go against him. I think this will go the distance, so give me Magomedov by the points. That's plus 130.
All right, 8 or more rebounds in the game. Plus 310, Seth Trimble.
Okay. And last but not least, this is the main event, and oh man, this is going to be so good. Israel Adesanya versus Nasruddin Imavov. Oh boy, Israel's trying to come back. He's had some bad losses, and he was really good for a while, so he's probably going to come out really hot in this one. He likes to do that. I just think Nasruddin is going to come out with a win here, and he's an underdog, so give me him to win at home plus 130.
All right. Well, I mean, it's hot in Saudi Arabia.
It is.
Right?
It is.
All right. So the game and the total. For the record, I think Duke is going to win the game. But I think Duke has shown you over the last couple that they are not quite all the way there. They are dealing with whatever. I'll take the 13.5 points. We'll go over 149 because I think Carolina will score with Duke. That is plus 250. So Elliot Cadeau, 15 or more points, plus 275. Seth Trimble, 8 or more rebounds, plus 310. Tar Heels to cover the 13.5 and go over 149. All right, you want my Super Bowl prop?
I know, we're
All
waiting.
Right.
I'm curious.
We've got A.J. Brown plus 90 receiving yards, 90 or more receiving yards. We also have A.J. Brown to be the MVP of the game at plus 3,200. We had Orange Gatorade at plus 600. And we had Jalen Hurts 2 or more touchdown passes at plus 172. Halftime show. Kendrick Lamar is the halftime show.
He is.
First song. First track.
Oh, wow.
All right. Plus 1,600. Like, never mind that it's the only song I would recognize. I think it, right?
Well, makes your options low.
Right, it does. So, and I'm not even going to pretend I didn't look it up, but I think that's the perfect opener.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The
Pack Therapy podcast is in session thanks to First Horizon Bank. Tim Donnelly here, host of The Drive, alongside Wolfpack legend Casey Morcell.
Every episode is your chance to score inside information on the Pack.
We'll set you up for Wolfpack games all season long.
And we break down the ACC competition, what to watch for as we roll towards the tournament madness.
Plus special guests to keep Wolfpack hope alive.
Follow and subscribe to Pack Therapy wherever you discover your favorite podcast or watch on YouTube.
Jackson Hewitt makes taxes feel like a yacht rock song.
April breeze, give me my biggest tax refund, please. You, me, and a lifetime accuracy guarantee.
And now get $100 just to try Jackson Hewitt. Does your tax person do that?
Say goodbye to that no guarantee tax guy.
Ready to sail through tax season? Go to Jackson Hewitt and you'll be... Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. And there's no time like now to stop what you're doing and join with the K-Yow Cancer Fund in the fight against all cancers affecting women. Now through February 1st, Triangle Area Bojangles are donating all proceeds from Bowberry biscuit sales to the K-Yow Cancer Fund. Just buy a Bowberry biscuit. You'll be doing some good and getting something good. So what are you waiting for? Hurry, it's bow time.
Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online.
Uh-huh.
I read that black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older, like you, are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
Visit WeTalkWeRise.com to learn more. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Love baseball? You'll love this. The Durham Bulls are hiring for the 2025 baseball season for all kinds of part-time positions that let you be a part of the fun and excitement at DBAP. Come out to the 2025 Durham Bulls Job Fair this Saturday, February 1st at the PNC Triangle Club inside Durham Bulls Athletic Park from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Bring your enthusiasm and be ready for on-the-spot interviews. Step up to the plate and come out this Saturday. Your new job is waiting at the Durham Bulls. See you at the ballpark.
In World War I, American fighter pilots covering a plane's rear position coined the phrase, "I've got your six," to mean I've got your back. Through their service, veterans have our backs. Now we should have theirs. Learn more at gotyoursix.org using the number 6.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score!
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
The combination of him and Andy Reid and what they're able to do with whatever players they have at the skill positions or in the backfield, whatever offensive line configurations they have, they just understand how to manipulate defenses, how to get the ball to their guys in advantageous situations, and how to just keep moving the chains. And then Patrick's ability to, when teams are trying to plaster in the secondary and cover guys on those off-schedule plays, he's able to still make yards with his feet and get first downs. I mean, he had 2 rushing touchdowns. I mean, that was really a key X factor in the game.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. The Roundtable coming up in just a few minutes. Talk a little bit about the Carolina Hurricanes here. We'll deal with mostly football and basketball stuff in the roundtable. Canes beat Chicago last night. Washington came from behind to force overtime, but they lost in Ottawa, so the Hurricanes claw a point closer to the Capitals, just 6 points behind Washington in the Metropolitan Division. Washington does have a game in hand. Carolina's 4 points ahead of the Devils, and Carolina's got a game in hand on New Jersey. So, important to finish ahead of the Devils because that means you get home ice advantage for the first series, and as many times as Carolina's had home ice advantage in the first round of the playoffs, the bubble hockey year notwithstanding, because there was no home ice advantage. But every year since then, the Hurricanes have had home ice advantage, at least in the first round of the playoffs, all, 4 of the last years. They had home ice against Nashville, and then Tampa in the crazy pandemic central year had home ice against Boston, and the Rangers the year after did they have home ice against Florida too. It didn't work out, right? They had home ice against the Islanders in Florida, and then the Islanders they did not have it against the Rangers in the second round last year. So I think it matters greatly in the first round. I'm not sure it matters beyond then. But should be fun. Hurricanes hopefully will be healthy tomorrow when they take on the LA Kings. Aho didn't play. Hall didn't play. Other guys played but weren't 100%. They brought up Ryan Suzuki. I haven't seen that they have sent him down, but maybe they did. But I'll do a little research on that during the break. But right now, it's time for a Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
All right, let's talk about the win last night. Rod Brindamore on the absences and those who played who were not up to snuff.
It wasn't pretty, but we had some good segments in there. We were able to get ahead, and then we just kind of, I don't want to say stop playing, but we kind of hung around. But yeah, it's considering what we're missing, and then we have a couple guys that were not feeling 100%, that's for sure. So we got it out, and we'll move on.
So I got this question on the podcast last night, Canes Corner podcast. We do it after every game. If you're interested, youtube.com/Canes Corner, and then it gets spit out in a normal podcast form. So wherever you get your podcast, Canes Corner podcast. We do it after every Hurricanes game. I did go, why would they only dress 17 skaters? So here's the deal. When the Hurricanes made all these trades, they pushed themselves pretty tight against the cap in order to have called up 2 players because Aho and Suzuki, rather Aho and Hall both didn't play. In order to call up 2 players, they would have had to have gotten rid of 2 players. They couldn't afford 1 player. So in order to bring up Ryan Suzuki, because they wanted at least 11 forwards, they sent Riley Stillman back. So they could not afford to even add 1 player. With 2 forwards out, they didn't want to go with 10 forwards. They actually did that during that crazy pandemic central year when they got hit by a couple of batches of COVID. And so the Hurricanes played 1 game, 2 skaters short. And then ultimately, once you play 1 game, you're allowed to exceed the salary cap for safety reasons. But as soon as you have guys back, those guys have to go, which makes sense. Anyway, so that's why they couldn't add another player. So they played yesterday's game 1 man less than Chicago. Ultimately, they sort of did that against the Rangers too, because until the game got out of hand in terms of the score, when Carolina made it 4-0, Riley Stillman, other than fight, and he fought with, Sam Carrick. Other than the fight, he really didn't play much. He had like a shift here, a shift there, but he played 7.5 minutes in the game, and almost all of that was in the third period. So it was after Carolina made it 4-0, and then Riley Stillman got a bunch of run in the third period. But they essentially played a man down in that game. So they played a man down last night. Did it impact them? I think the guys who were ill, who still played, that probably impacted them more than the fact that they were playing a man short. Jacob Slavin played over 25 minutes, and he was an absolute beast in the game. I don't even think there's a second place for who was the best player in the game. That's how good Jacob Slavin was. All right, so Mikko Rantanen played his first game as a home player at Lenovo Center. What did he thought or think?
Well, it was great. The playing here as a away team, it's always one of the toughest buildings. So I was always happy that we only came here once. Not because I like the city and everything, but just the building is tough to play in. So I'm happy to be on the home side. And the crowd was great again. It got some chills. Obviously, there was a lot of roaring. So happy to see that.
There was a lot of mooing last night from Moose. All right, to the basketball game with Hubert Davis. Carolina going up against a very, very big, tall Duke team. And the hard part for Carolina is that they are a small Carolina team. This is unusual that Duke is significantly bigger than Carolina in a basketball game.
They have tremendous length at every size, and so I think that's a huge determining factor of why they've been so good defensively, because of their length. They're athletic, they're long, they can cover a lot of space, and so to be able to punch gaps, get to the rim, get two on the ball, create open shots from the perimeter, you have to have tremendous spacing, you have to have ball movement, you have to run your offense with pace. You've got to take care of the basketball in order to get consistent good shots. And, they also have the ability to switch everything, 1 through 5. And so when teams do that, just like Pitt did us in the second half, you've got to, your spacing, your ball and player movement has to be on point.
Yeah, they have a lot of work to do to keep it close with Duke. I've said there are 3 potential outcomes. There is Duke curb stomps Carolina, which is absolutely out there. If Duke dials up defensive pressure and Carolina doesn't hit shots, doesn't make threes or get to the rim or get to the free throw line, stuff that Duke doesn't generally allow, then this could get ugly, especially if Duke actually is making perimeter shots. In games where Duke has struggled, they have shot the ball poorly from 3, and they have allowed teams to make threes. The 2 games that they lost, Kentucky made 10, Kansas made 8. And I would point out that Duke still had the ball with a chance to win that game late in both of those games. So Duke could absolutely blow Carolina off the floor. Carolina could keep it close and lose a close game. Carolina could keep it close and win a close game. Whatever you think is more likely, fine. Doesn't matter. But to me, those are the 3 potential outcomes. I don't think there is a scenario in which North Carolina wins comfortably. Not a single scenario where that happens. All right, one quick thing and then we'll break. Tyler Zeller joined us yesterday, and I asked Carolina's former big man, who was 2-2 in the 4 games he played against Duke as a starter, I asked him what his most memorable and best memory and worst memory of a Duke-Carolina game.
So best and worst go hand in hand. So obviously the Austin Rivers shot that everybody knows about.
I don't know what you're talking about, Tyler.
Yeah, I know. And I for the longest time, I never even looked at the clip, but my heels are on the three-point line, and he made a heck of a shot.
Right.
But what frustrated me more is I went 2 for 4 on free throws in the last minute and a half, 2 minutes. And
Gotcha.
so that's by far my worst because I feel more guilty about the free throws than I do giving up the three. He made a great shot. I think, but conversely, to follow that up, because of that, we were very locked in going to their place and talking about being quiet. I remember with just between 30 and 45 seconds left in the game, we're up 16-18, and somebody's shooting a free throw, and Kendall Marshall makes a joke to John Henson, and Coach Williams just let into him. But it was completely across the court, and it was so quiet in Cameron that everybody heard it. And so that's one of my best memories, just because I know how quiet it was in there and how much we had just come in and did what we were supposed to. And so that's got to be one of my best memories. From a fan perspective, you can't beat, beating Coach K at home and then, beating him in the Final Four.
See, he broke the rules, though. It was for him in terms of his. Never mind. Tyler Zeller can break the rules if he wants. When we come back, we'll talk about a little bit about the game in the roundtable. But this could be fascinating. And I do think that what Tyler was getting at in terms of the good memory and bad memory coming from the same game was because that loss at home to the Austin Rivers shot triggered a good Carolina run. So maybe that's what'll happen at Cameron. Maybe Carolina will beat Duke, and Duke will kind of wake up from whatever is plaguing them over the last 2 games because they have not been at peak efficiency. All right, we'll come back. The roundtable is next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen for the Did He Just Do That?
Johnson trying to step back for a 3. Bring it up. Left side. Boy, that was cold-blooded.
The deep looks from downtown.
Damas from the right block. Gives to Hawkins. Straight on. Triple. Good. They left him open, and he makes him pay.
The Get That Out of Here's.
Bonner to the basket. Rejected by Renew, who saw that one coming.
Your exclusive home for the Final Four. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and Super Bowl 59 is just about a week away. We have 1 game left. We have 2 teams left, but we have endless possibilities for fun. So whether you're predicting the first touchdown, that's a good one. Who will take home the MVP or the coin toss? FanDuel makes it easy to place your bets and feel the thrill of every moment. And right now, new customers can score $200 in bonus bets when you make and win your first $5 wager. That's right. Win your first $5 bet, $200 in bonus bets are yours. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. FanDuel is an official partner of Super Bowl 59. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
WREL News at 6 is coverage you can count on. Get the biggest stories of the day and breaking news as it happens.
Plus, complete weather coverage of your town.
WREL News has everything you need when you need it, including this special report.
A local child removed from her home, abused while in DSS custody.
These children have been through absolute hell.
The new attempt trying to fix the system that's leaving children behind in North Carolina.
What we do doesn't work.
Monday at 6.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
If you needed one more reason to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler, get this. Diamonds Direct maintains involvement in the entire diamond process and handpicks the best just for you. You see, any jeweler can claim to be a direct importer or have so-called partnerships overseas, but Diamonds Direct has special access that others simply don't have. Nobody can get closer to the source than Diamonds Direct. Indeed, Diamonds Direct is recognized in the industry as a world diamond powerhouse with unrivaled buying power and decades of inside connections that go back to their roots as actual diamond cutters. Bottom line, Diamonds Direct is without question the jeweler here that can truly offer the absolute best value. Make no mistake, Diamonds Direct refuses to be undersold on GIA certified diamonds. And we challenge you, let us prove it. Diamonds Direct, your source for the ultimate diamond value. Official jeweler of the Carolina Hurricanes and proud sponsor of NC State Athletics. And proud to call the Triangle home. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
It's back, folks, and it's better than ever. Who wants to win a custom Caniacs motorcycle? Dennis Cox here for Law Tigers. The Carolina Hurricanes, Law Tigers, Tobacco Road Harley-Davidson, and Shiny Side Paint are teaming up again to give one lucky fan a custom Caniacs motorcycle. Go to caniacsbike.com to enter. Sign-ups last until April 6th, and the bike will be given away on the final home game of the season. caniacsbike.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
One Adam Gold. One Adam Gold.
Was the hug because of the soft, fuzzy thing you're wearing?
It's a comment. I'm a great hugger. People like to hug me. But yes, it's helpful when I'm soft and fuzzy.
Is that a skill?
It may be, yes.
I think it is a skill.
I think it is a skill.
Yeah.
You know who else gives really great hugs? Mike Meniscalco.
Really?
He is one of my favorite huggers. Yes. Every time I see him, he gives the best hugs.
I'm going to try that at the next home game.
Do it.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. We'll find out if our panel likes my prop bets. A prop bet every day until Super Bowl Sunday. And let's bring in, first of all, let's start the show.
Camelot.
Yeah.
Camelot. It's only a model.
It's the Friday Roundtable here on the Adam Gold Show, starring Jeremy Greene, ESPN Asheville, at ESPN Draft Nerd, and Randy Slack from ESPN Wilmington, at rslack37. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for doing this. I'm going to start with you, Randy. We're just going to go through my prop bets, and you tell me which ones you like so far, okay?
Okay.
A.J. Brown, 90 or more receiving yards. A.J. Brown to win the MVP. By the way, if he wins the MVP, it's plus 3,200 if he is the MVP. Jalen Hurts, 2 or more touchdown passes. I think that's plus 175. Orange Gatorade dumped on the winning coach. And Kendrick Lamar's first song will be All Right, plus 1,600.
You took all of these prop bets?
No, I can't do anything yet.
Okay. Are those are the ones you like?
Yes.
Why? What makes you think that Jalen Hurts is going to throw 2 touchdowns and that A.J. Brown's going to have, there's no chance. You would have to have an absolutely Herculean effort. You would have to have a quarterback so bad like Ben Roethlisberger in 2005 to have a receiver win the Super Bowl MVP. That is the big – if you want to waste money when we get off the air, Adam, I'll give you my Venmo. Just send me whatever you were going to put on those and just send it to me directly, and then I can do anything better with that money.
All right, good. I'll do that.
Awful.
I'll do that. What do you think of Kendrick Lamar, All Right? That's really all I cared about. You work at a music station.
I do work at a music station. Regretfully, I'm not 100% sure. My whiteness is showing. I'm not sure which song that is. I know Not Like Us will probably be playing at some point, and I really wish there was a prop bet on if we could find Drake in the crowd somewhere, because that shot would be great during that song.
All Right is what Kendrick Lamar played during the Super Bowl in L.A. which is, to me, the second greatest halftime show of all time, behind Prince in the Rain in Miami.
Full disclosure, that was the Bengals Super Bowl. I don't remember anything about that game other than the game itself. I have no idea what the commercials were. I think 50 Cent was upside down at one point.
He was.
But I don't know anything else that happened other than Eli Apple is garbage, and they can't block for Joe, and they still can't block for Joe. That's all watching your team in the Super Bowl is the worst feeling in the world.
The worst, unless it wins.
I'm going to disagree on that.
All right, let's. All right, Jeremy Greene for me as we've almost forgot you were here. That's my fault. Am I as? Do you think I am as crazy as Randy feels with those initial? I'll have other prop bets. A prop bet doesn't mean I think I'm going to be right. It's just like there's value there.
My first question was going to be, please God, tell me you're not about to ask me a Gatorade question. Orange is it's formidable, but yellow is the right call. You don't want to stain the coach's shirt, especially when it's Nick Sirianni.
Did you watch that? They dumped orange Gatorade on Nick Sirianni, Jeremy.
Well, I mean, the only problem with that is that Sirianni, to people like me, that's going to look like Kerry. He's just going to turn orange and red.
Well, apparently orange is in.
Philadelphia is going to get smoked in this game.
Okay, so the reason why I don't think they're going to get smoked. The reason why I've gone heavy into passing for the Eagles is because I believe the Chiefs are going to try and shut down Saquon Barkley, and that if Philadelphia is going to have success, they will do so because A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith will have big games.
I don't mind the A.J. Brown prop because I really don't know who's going to defend him. If you look at Kansas City over the course of the run, they have put Trent McDuffie on the weaker of the two corner receivers and then had a safety over the top with the second corner. So I'm going to assume A.J. Brown gets that. That would make me like that and not like Devontae Smith.
Okay. So it's not, in your opinion, it's not completely out of the realm of possibility.
No, but MVP is. If A.J. Brown wins MVP, I'm not real sure what the script of that game would be, but it's going to be pandalarium.
He catches 2 touchdown passes and 160 yards in receiving. That's what that is.
I mean, is he the only one? Because that would make you're halfway to 300 with Jalen Hurts, and like Randy said, you have to be awfully bad as a quarterback to not win MVP.
I think it would have to be like a Julio Jones 310-yard, 3-touchdown type performance for a receiver. It would have to just be unbelievably insane for a receiver to win, unless he throws a touchdown pass. Who knows?
He could. There is you can get a quarterback to catch a pass as a prop bet. We'll get to. So, Randy, how do you see the game being played out?
Look, I've always been called a Bengals homer and apologist on this show, but I will say something here that, if I'm looking at just trends and things that have happened during the season, my Bengals lost every game by 1 score except one game. They lost at home to the Philadelphia Eagles by 3 touchdowns. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are definitely the more talented team in this game. It's tough to go against Andy Reid. It's tough to go against Patrick Mahomes. But, boy, I think the Philadelphia Eagles are a more talented team, and I think they can win this. I don't think they're going to get blown out. I think they were right in it other than Jalen Hurts, fumbling and just absolutely killing the momentum the first time these two teams played.
I don't disagree with that. Jeremy, your thoughts on the game?
I struggle. I'm actually headed to New Orleans in the morning.
Oh, wow.
And I have to ask Nick Sirianni a question, and I've got to figure out a way to ask it in a way that Big Dom doesn't punch me in the face. And that question is going to be something to the effect of, how exactly do you think you're going to outsmart Andy Reid when you might be the biggest meatball I've ever seen coach an NFL team? I'll take your answer off the air.
If you can handle that, if you can ask that question and get an answer, I'll run it on the show.
Ian.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. But I can't wrap my brain around how Nick Sirianni is going to outcoach Andy Reid.
But he might not have to.
Since he came to Kansas City, this is what Andy Reid has done. And you said quarterback catch a pass. That's what Nick Sirianni does. He's gimmicky. Gimmicky's not going to win you a Super Bowl. It'll get you here in the NFC because the NFC is bad. You have Philadelphia and Detroit. Everybody else is terrible in some shape, form, or fashion. Washington's got a great quarterback. They have a terrible defense. Green Bay is meh. They have 53 B-minus players. And you just go down the list in the NFC. Awesome. Philadelphia got here. Kansas City went through murderer's row. They went through Josh Allen. They went through they didn't have to play Lamar Jackson. But I don't see it. I think 2 to 53, that roster is fantastic. But then there's that one. And it's Pat Mahomes versus Jalen Hurts. And to me, that's not even close.
Well, I agree with that. And the reason why the Chiefs have now won 17 consecutive one-score games is because they have the best coach and the best quarterback. And you can argue that they have the best tight end also. I'm not sure that matters as much, but it does matter at times.
And the best officiating.
Oh, okay. So that was my next question. Randy, did the Bills get screwed?
No.
Then why are you saying that? Then why? What are we talking about here then?
I'm just saying it for the memes. Every team that's very good is always the team that gets all the calls. We've been talking about this, I feel like, my entire life. As bad as referees are, they're bad for everybody. That fourth down play for Josh Allen, you can't really tell. Chris Jones is in the way. I don't think that the league is in this some nefarious situation to give the Kansas City Chiefs victories. I just think it just happens that they, capitalize on other people's mistakes, and some people, you get in your head, you think they're going to get the calls. They get a call that could go 50-50, and then you're in your head going, here we go. It's like when I'm at a craps table, and I think that if a guy puts chips down, that's going to make me 7 out. It has nothing to do with it, but in my head it does, and then I throw a 7, and I've lost all my money.
And you blame him for putting chips down. That's Randy Slack. We all have Jeremy Greene.
Absolutely.
Randy Slack from ESPN Wilmington, Jeremy Greene from ESPN Asheville. Do you think the Bills got a raw deal from the referees?
I don't. I think you did it to yourself. The Josh Allen just constantly running that sneak over left guard.
Right.
When you've got James Cook that's just eviscerating them, and yet you still have to run out Ty Johnson and Ray Davis. That's what beat you. To me, Joe Brady and Sean McDermott beat you.
See,
because Andy Reid was better.
Thank you. I've been saying all year long, Buffalo's biggest weakness is their head coach. Biggest weakness that they've got. We spent all year, I mean, we have ESPN on all the time, for a team that won 10 in a row at one point. I don't care what conference you're in. They won 10 in a row, and they're saying, will Nick Sirianni hold back Philadelphia? I think Sirianni's a good coach. I don't think he's Andy Reid, but everybody gave Sean McDermott a pass, all year long. We remember them trying to sneak it in against the Rams where they could not be stopped. If they score a touchdown on that play, they can use all 3 timeouts, maybe get the ball back. But then he ran a quarterback sneak and called a timeout. I'm like, you don't really get this thing, do you, Sean? Sean doesn't get the clock and how it impacts winning and losing games. But I do think that whether it was repeatedly sneaking with Josh Allen, which was never impactful during the game, or the fact that Josh Allen missed, who was it? The former Panthers wide receiver on a little swing pass that would have gone like 40 yards, but he threw it into the ground. Josh had a couple of moments that were un-Josh-like, and I thought that was as meaningful as anything else that we saw during the game. Anyway, that was my take on the game. Let me ask this question. Cam Newton, and I'll ask you, Jeremy. Cam Newton said in response to a question from Stephen A. Smith, would you give your MVP back for a Super Bowl? And he said no. Your reaction to that?
Doesn't surprise me in the least. I mean, if there's any quarterback that would say that out loud, it would be Cam Newton. Then he went down the rabbit hole of, I'm celebrating individual accomplishments because I earned them. Virtually everything that comes out of his mouth makes my head hurt. You had one elite year. One. Other than that, you were fair to middling. 12 to 17 in the NFL. But you talk like you're Pat Mahomes. I'll never understand that as long as I live. And then to say things like that, whether you believe it or not, and I would say there's probably several quarterbacks over time that believe that,
right,
but they would never say it.
So
Cam's the one that says it.
If you to me, that's what makes him authentic. I understand what he's talking about. Ultimately, you play this game to be the best, and that's what Cam was talking about. I think Cam is better.
I have no problem with that.
Right.
I have no problem that he played the game to be the best.
So
where I have the problem is that you say things like that, and then you want to whine and cry that nobody gives you an opportunity to be a quarterback. That's why they don't give you an opportunity. That's why at 34 years old you were out of the league. You were more talented than that, but you were gone 10 years in.
I'll respond to that part of it in a second. Randy, what was your take on that response?
He's 100% correct. Like, taking an MVP over a Super Bowl championship, yeah, most guys won't say it. He's a guy that will say it, and he's 100% right. Would you rather be Brad Johnson and have a Super Bowl? I mean, yeah, that's great. You're a Super Bowl champion. Nobody ever thinks that you're that good, and they're always going to say, hey, you could win a Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer or Brad Johnson. If you're Cam Newton, he went 15-1. Yeah, he didn't dive on that ball, and he's going to have to live with that the rest of his life.
Right.
But the dude went 15-1 with a kick returner as his best wide receiver. Like, he deserved the MVP. He was the best player in the league, and not many people can say that. A lot more people have Super Bowl championships than they do MVPs. There's a lot of guys in the Hall of Fame that have never been the best player in the league for a year, and Cam Newton was that guy for a year.
Yeah, and I actually think Cam was – I mean, Jeremy and I could have probably a healthy debate. I think Cam was way better than between 12 and 17 in terms of quarterbacks. I mean, he certainly had deficiencies as a quarterback, but as a football player, as an offensive weapon, I mean, he was unbelievable, and he was the most relevant. The Panthers have never at any point been more relevant than when Cam Newton was their quarterback. They might have been better as a team, even though 15-1 is pretty hard to beat. But they've never mattered more to the league. I would argue also that as a rookie, to do what he did as a rookie was remarkable. And in 2018, until the injury, I mean, he was arguably better than he was in 2015. The other part of that is Cam Newton might still be playing if he had a shoulder. The reason why Cam Newton stopped being good was because he couldn't throw the football at all because of the damage done to his shoulder, which is, partially his fault, and partially Ron Rivera's fault. But that's why he was out of football, not because he wasn't any good. He wasn't any good because he couldn't throw, physically could not throw the ball. We saw that the last year in New England, where he just absolutely couldn't throw the ball. All right, let me ask this question. Where does Sam Darnold play next year, Jeremy?
I will go Las Vegas Raiders.
The Las Vegas Raiders.
Pete Carroll.
That could work.
Loves USC guys.
That could actually work. Are they going to pay him $50 million a year or like $30 million a year?
I think Sam Darnold comes closer to the Baker Mayfield deal. I think it's somewhere in that 3 for $120 with 75 guaranteed. But it should be Minnesota. I have to get that in because I love this thought that we have Sam Darnold and we know what he is, but we have to play J.J. McCarthy because he's cheaper and he might be Sam Darnold. I've never been able to wrap my brain around that. And they say, well, we can't pay Justin Jefferson. Then why can every other team in the league do it? Every other team in the league that has an elite quarterback can pay $40 million. You have one guy that's making that kind of money.
Yeah, you just got to be creative. You just got to be creative with the contract. You can do both. Randy, where does Sam Darnold play next year? I'm waiting for the right answer.
I mean, for me, it's got to be Minnesota. He needs to be there. If I'm Sam, I don't want to go anywhere else except Minnesota, just so I can try to have another year of throwing it to the best receiver in the NFL, and then I can get paid just to show, hey, look, I did it for 2 years, and then you can redshirt J.J. McCarthy for real. Let him get his time if you're the Vikings, and then Sam can move on. But I think he's with Minnesota next season.
Why can't he go back to the Jets?
No, we don't want him back in New York.
Never mind. No, I'm just
Him
kidding.
in New York.
I was kidding.
You talk about country mouse in the city. That did not go well. I love Sam. I adore him. But you should take your money elsewhere.
Yeah, no, he will. There's that would never. They'll never take a meeting at all. Sam Darnold and the New York Jets. Randy Slack and Jeremy Greene, ESPN Wilmington, ESPN Asheville at rslack37 down at the beach, and at ESPN Draft Nerds. You're going to be on Radio Row, Jeremy?
Yes. Yeah, I'm at Senior Bowl right now, and it has been raining sideways all day. And then we're going down for Radio Row, and then I'm going to take a solid 2-week vacation where I don't leave my house. I've been gone for 12 days already.
Have you really?
And I've got 7 more.
You're a sick man.
I miss my house. I do. I miss my house.
Thank you very much for doing this then, Jeremy. I appreciate your time. Fellas, take care. Have a good weekend.
Not to brag, I'm at Speedway in Holly Ridge, but thanks, guys.
Do you have 2 shows at Speedway?
I got 2 hot dogs waiting for me on the roller when I go in here after we're done with this.
Very nice. Very nice. Send me the bill.
You got it.
All right, man. Would you eat a hot dog from a Speedway?
I mean, when was the last time I ate food? That would be the real question. You're rolling the dice, but you know.
I don't know if I would eat a hot dog.
I will say, Sheetz food is delicious. That's gas station food.
You're right. I can't argue with the logic there. Mm-hmm. I have never eaten anything other than like something that I unwrapped in a bright package.
Right. That was
Sheetz.
Sealed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not in any way doubting it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people swear by it.
Oh yeah, it's good.
All right. We'll rewind next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is looking for people age 21 or older to volunteer in long-term care facilities. Community Advisory Committee volunteers help residents and their families advocate for the needs of individuals living in long-term care facilities, such as nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and family care homes. Volunteers must complete orientation and training to become designated and certified representatives of the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. Visit ncdhhs.gov/aging to find your county's ombudsman.
AARP is working hard to make sure people in North Carolina are getting the most out of life. Whether it's helping you stay healthy, save more money, care for loved ones, or simply have some fun, AARP is making a difference in communities across the state. You have a wise friend and fierce defender with AARP. Learn more about progress being made for older adults in the state by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcast.
I choose to stay up to date on my vaccines to protect what matters most, my community.
Don't let COVID-19 and the flu stop you.
So make sure you have protection against new virus strains that continue to spread this fall and winter.
Don't wait. Get up to date.
Because my health is our health.
Ask your healthcare provider about updated flu and COVID-19 shots.
Don't wait. Get your updated shots today.
Visit myspot.nc.gov and find yours today.
Super Bowl 59. 1 game, 2 teams, endless possibilities. No better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether you're predicting the first touchdown, who's going to win the MVP, how about even the coin toss? You can't do the national anthem, sorry. FanDuel makes it easy to place your bets and feel the thrill of every moment. And with live betting all game long, you can jump into the action whenever. Spilled nachos on yourself? You can still wager. Plus, to make the Super Bowl even sweeter, new customers can score $200 in bonus bets when you make your first bet. You don't even have to win it. FanDuel.com/AGS and bet with FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 59. That's FanDuel.com/AGS. Good luck. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877 718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
It's okay not to be okay. Feelings of loneliness, anger, and worry are completely normal, and you're not alone. If you need help coping, call, text, or chat the free 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Someone is always there to talk, day or night. Together, we will find the care that works for you. Just call, text, or chat 988 anytime to talk to a trained counselor who will listen, provide support, and connect you to other resources that can help. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit, investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
If you recently lost health coverage due to a life change, healthcare.gov is here for you. Like it was there for Marcus when he lost his job, and Keisha when she turned 26 and lost her parents' insurance, and Elena when she went off Medicaid. There are many other ways to qualify. Visit healthcare.gov today to see if you're eligible to enroll. Limited time to enroll. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
All of us have a role to play in promoting a mental health friendly workplace. Learn more at whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
This is Adam Gold.
Home runs are homers, not dingers, not jacks, not bombs. Can I use tater?
I know. Can we say going yard?
Oh, yes.
Right?
If we can't exaggerate, if we can't use colorful, flowery metaphors and descriptions, why are we here?
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Have you seen the movie Shark Tale?
I don't think so.
The version of this song in Shark Tale.
Oh, great.
Aces.
Nice.
Absolutely aces.
We were talking about gas stations, so it just made me think.
Oh, that's fine.
It made me think of this song.
Any reason to play car wash is good.
I also need to do that after all the snow.
So go. Oh yes, me too. Definitely, me as well. So earlier, John Forslund joined us, and I'm sure we'll have something from John in the rewind. We were talking about the impact of the Canes trade. He talked about that we're going to see a copycat league. We're going to see other teams think about making big swings. I don't know that there is a big swing out there. He was talking about it from the perspective of Colorado, that teams will be saying, all right, I've got 3 stars. I can only pay 2, which is the one I'm going to let go. I know Colorado is mad. Fans are mad. Nathan McKinnon is mad because they did it mid-season. They could have allowed him to walk for nothing at the end of the year if they were going to decide ultimately that we paid McKinnon. We're going to give Cale Makar the biggest contract in franchise history. We can't pay a third player, which would ultimately end up being a total of 40% of their salary cap, those 3 players combined, and have a team that has enough depth to win a Stanley Cup. So they weren't going to be able to pay Mikko Rantanen that kind of money. But the anger was that they did it during the season. There's a reason why it's hard to come up with, in recent memory, a midseason deal like Carolina pulled off. Players like that do not change teams in the middle of seasons. These happen after the season. Matthew Tkachuk going from Calgary to Florida for Jonathan Huberdeau. I think Mackenzie Weegar also went the other way. That was an off-season deal. I mean, it just doesn't happen. So what happened is unusual. The last time we had a blockbuster trade in the middle of the year, you could argue, was Rod Brind'Amour for Keith Primo. The Hurricanes sent their captain to Philadelphia for one of their most popular and great players. Of course, Brind'Amour was hurt. He was playing with a broken foot. And Primo was a contract holdout, so there were extenuating circumstances there. We've seen Patrick Waugh go from Montreal to Colorado. The players that went back escape me, but that was a blockbuster trade. Great players changing teams. You just don't see it in the middle of seasons very often. But anyway, one of the things that Forslund said was, because I just casually brought up Gary Bettman, and he said, I know that people think differently, but Gary Bettman has been a great commissioner. And that is 100% the truth. I realize it is popular to hate on commissioners. It's popular. Hey, I do it. I've said this about Roger Goodell. This is not whether or not Roger Goodell is a good commissioner or not. I think he's okay. I just think that a trained chimpanzee could be a commissioner of the NFL. It is absolutely idiot-proof. Exactly the reason my wife got me an iPhone. Seriously.
That's why.
Right? Well, my mother-in-law said, because I was struggling with my BlackBerry.
Oh, okay.
My mother-in-law said to Aileen, she said, you should get him an iPhone. It's idiot-proof.
Oh.
That's a quote.
There you go.
That is a quote.
It's facts.
Yeah. And you know what?
Hey,
I'll wear it.
I don't have an iPhone, so I don't know.
I'll wear it. And it sort of is idiot-proof.
Okay.
There's still things I don't really get about it, but it's fine. Yeah. Because I've not really tried to explore that part of the phone. But anyway, the Gary Bettman took over in 1993. The league was not in shambles. It wasn't in great shape. Mario Lemieux basically quit on the league because he called it a garage league. Now, he had physical issues, but physical issues, we're not talking about the Hodgkins that he had to battle through. We're talking about like a bad back because he was taking too much abuse. It was all over the place. It was basically an organized street fight on ice every night. And while I know a lot of old heads glorify the old days, today's game is billions better than the old. And the old game was great. Today's game is better. I'm sorry if you needed to watch two guys drop gloves every night in a hockey game. But the sport is better today. The players are better today. It's more international today. It's more available today. The game makes more money today. Gary understood. He might have been wrong. He might have been right. They went through a work stoppage that canceled the 2004-2005 season. They instituted a salary cap. Again, I am not pro salary cap. They instituted a salary cap in 2005. The first year of the salary cap, it was $39 million. That was the first salary cap. Think about putting together a roster with $39 million today. The salary cap for next year will be $95.5 million, according to Elliot Friedman. $39 million to $95.5 million in 20 years. In 2 years after that, the salary cap will be nearly $114 million. We are talking about nearly 3 times what it was in a span of 23 years. What Bettman has done with the league is nothing short of miraculous to get it to where it is. Not to mention who they are popular with. Young people. Young people dig the league. Baseball has fought hard to get back in with young people. The trends are good for baseball, but man, Gary Bettman has been an amazing commissioner. I've said this before. I think the most unpopular baseball commissioner in the last 25 years, might have been their best in that span, and that's Bud Selig. Yeah, I get it. He oversaw steroids. But Bud Selig also got the game back on good economic footing, and he had labor peace, which we didn't have for a long time. The commissioner's job is to make the game better, make it a better product. The NHL is the best product it has ever been. Ever. More popular all over the country. All right, it's time for a rewind. And Gary is feisty. He's a feisty dude. I love Gary. I do. Absolutely love Gary Bettman. All right. We'll start with hoops. Brendan Marks from The Athletic covers the Blue Devils, the Tar Heels, and all of college basketball. Give me a North Carolina game plan to win.
Yeah, I think if you're North Carolina, unfortunately, just given the way this team is built, given the way this team has played, given the matchup itself, I don't know that you can win this game with defense. As we have seen from North Carolina this season, in the games against, high caliber competition at Kansas, Michigan State and Maui, Florida and Charlotte, we've seen in all of those games the way North Carolina has kept it close is with its offense. Right. So I think if North Carolina is winning this game, it's because of what it's able to do offensively, specifically two things. Number one, I don't think there is a weakness to this Duke defense. Obviously, it's not perfect, but it's the third best defense in America for a reason. You can get three-pointers against this Duke defense, as NC State showed in the first half on Monday night. 7 threes in the first half. That was the reason that game was close and competitive, and as soon as the three stopped falling, the game completely swung. I do think that if North Carolina can hit some threes, R.J. Davis, to me, has looked a little more comfortable shooting from deep lately. Obviously, we've seen that Ian Jackson can be a microwave guy. Seth Trimble's the one who, for me, since coming back from those few games he missed, his three-point rate has really, really dropped off. He's a guy who's got to see that a couple go in. So number one, you've got to hit threes. And number two, you've got to get to the free throw line. Duke, unfortunately, is incredible at defending without fouling, so that one's a little harder. But when you think back to Michigan State, you think back to Kansas, you think back to Florida, North Carolina helped itself in those games by getting points at the line. Obviously, when it's doing that, it's not turning the ball over and it's not having these herky-jerk half-court offenses. So those are the two things to me offensively North Carolina has to do to win this game. Can they do them? That's a different question. But that is the formula if North Carolina is going to pull the upset.
So there's a lot. We dug into this game a lot with Brendan when he was on with us earlier. This is what I believe. I think Duke is easily good enough, talented enough to win a national championship. I'm not sure North Carolina ultimately is an NCAA tournament team. That's what I believe about both teams. I think North Carolina has some good moments, but ultimately their margin for error is almost nothing. They're not very good defensively. They don't rebound the ball well. So if Duke plays well, I think this is a laugher. If Duke plays well, this is the way I see what the potential of the Blue Devils is. If they play well, it's name your final score night at Cameron Indoor Stadium tomorrow. But they haven't played well the last two games. Wake Forest bothered them. NC State bothered them. State outplayed Duke. Duke has Cooper Flagg. You could say that about the Wake game too. Wake outplayed Duke. Duke's got Cooper Flagg. End of discussion. And the way that Duke has played lately, I kind of feel like that's what we're going to see. That Carolina's going to play well, but Duke's got Cooper Flagg. The game will be closer than it needs to be, unless if Duke gets up into North Carolina and plays with a level of defensive desperation that doesn't allow North Carolina to get off offensively, then Duke will win this game 75-50. But I don't know that Duke is in that place right now, which is what I asked Brendan. To me, I think Duke's playing Duke. Like they understand how much better they are than basically everybody they're playing right now. It's hard to get up for that. Let's see if they get up for this game tonight. I think Duke will win, but I think it will be closer than it should be. Victoria, thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend. I'm Adam. Bye.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
This is Super Bowl 59. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner